The Shift with Mike and Joe. This is episode number 24, and we have MiGGS finally on the show.
Finally. Gosh.
Finally, MiGGS is here.
Up top.
Welcome, MiGGS.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate y'all.
We are super excited to have you, dude. You're an awesome guy. We talk about you all the time.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Before we get too into it, we're going to do the intro, which goes like this. The Shift with Mike and Joe. That was pretty good.
That was pretty good. It's getting better.
You know what we should do? We gotta count how many dun-dun-duns and agree on.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Shift.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Well, it's like that last beat kind of cuts off, but it's still there, right? And then
we should have done this off camera.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right.
You want to practice it? I mean,
no. I remember
we
last time we did it at the end too, which I thought was cool.
Oh yeah.
So, one time there was one episode that we did at the end also. Anyway, this episode is still brought to you by Image and Sound Media, which is your local photo, video, and professional audio source that will serve all your needs in those categories.
And even does, what did you do? Like a charity raffle or something?
Well, I donated a family portrait session.
Pretty decent of you, Joe.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You're a stand-up guy.
Thanks, man.
I thought you were so beyond that in a bad way.
Right.
Really,
I would never think of
I've got a
donating
whole
anything.
new light of surrounding you now.
Well, I appreciate that. I
literally a whole new light, right?
Yeah, literally.
I turned my light up by 5% for this episode.
That's cool.
Just to brings out your eyes.
Brighten me up some.
Yeah, baby blues over here.
You got some nice brown eyes, bro. No gay stuff or anything.
No, it's all good. My mom used to tell me I was full of SHIT growing up.
Yeah.
100%. It's just because my eyes are brown, you know? So
oh, yeah, they
don't
are.
let the cowboy hat fool you, you know?
I got you, man.
We were babysitting this 3-year-old girl, and I was like, "You got brown eyes? Did you know you have brown eyes?" She's like, "My eyes are white." And so like, she's like, "Your eyes are white." And I was like, trying to explain to her about eye color. It didn't go so well.
Kids are so matter of fact.
So stupid, man. I mean, matter of fact.
Did you say kids are stupid?
Kids say the darndest things. So let's go. Stupid works too. I mean, we have our kids like, that was dumb, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God, man. All right. So MiGGS, thank you again for coming on the show. MiGGS, if you don't know, is a local, maybe soon to be not so local country artist, playing in all the big venues in this area. Yeah. Your most recent show was what, Country Calling, like big show?
Yeah, Country Calling. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I'll bet.
It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, man. So, Mike, do you I'm just going to ask him to tell us about the music industry and his.
I want to know your life story.
My life story.
I want to start at the very beginning.
A man met a woman.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I really do. I want to know, because you're not from these parts originally.
I'm not.
Right?
It's funny because I make fun and make jokes around a lot of people that around here now wear cowboy hats and play country music. And I'm like, well, all of a sudden you grew up in Dundalk, but all of a sudden you have a country accent when you get on stage and with a cowboy hat like they're playing a part. Like, to each their own. Yeah. Whatever, don't air that. Let's cut that out.
But you're from Texas.
We want names. Give me some names. Yeah.
Oh, we don't need a name drop. Trust me, they're all over social media.
You know who you are.
No,
I'm thinking of a couple right now.
Yeah,
we're thinking of the same one.
Oh, I want to know about this one.
I'll tell you later.
Okay. Who am I? My name is MiGGS. Born Miguel Rangel. Nice. And I was born in Florida, actually, Hobart Field, Florida, and I'm not going to give my birth date. I'm going to see my first car and everything else. No, but I moved to Austin, Texas when I was about 2 years old and grew up in Austin the rest of my life and started playing music. Actually, I remember my first favorite song was Roxanne by the Police in the back of my dad's Lincoln Town car.
Cool.
That's a good song.
Did you know what it was about?
I have no idea.
Wait, still?
Oh, no. I mean, no, I know what it's about now. Yeah, but at the time, kid, right? No. I just like it just sounded good and I could sing it. It was fun. I've been singing ever since. Actually, fun fact, in high school, my junior year, I think it was, maybe sophomore year, maybe it was junior year, I signed up for calculus, and for some reason they put me in choir.
Really?
Yeah, and I guess maybe the C's got mixed up. Yeah, and I was like, all right, I go in here, I was like, oh, this is so stupid. I don't want to be in choir. Who wants to be choir? And I did band in middle school. I played trumpet, French horn, and trombone.
Wow.
And then when I got to high school, I was told, don't do band because it's too time-consuming. You can't do sports and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, whatever, I won't. But anyways, junior year, I got into choir, and the teacher was like, hey, you you sing really good. And she put me on some solo where I tried to figure something out. And I was like, I kind of like this. This is fun. I'm good at this. And started doing men's all-state 5A choir for state of Texas. Took third place in an all-state choir competition.
Wow.
Had a solo in the all-state 5A competition that year. Did show choir, stuff like that. Started doing some acting gigs for district of 5A, and was a lot of fun. And started playing. Picked up guitar when I was about 16 years old because I was like, hey, why not?
Yeah.
And went from there. Started playing, little shows for the church. Started playing in worship choir or church choir or church band. Led that for many years up until I was about 23 years old. So I grew up in the church as well. What else? Started playing at weddings. Started playing at little different like acoustic gigs, if you will, that needed music. And then when I got in the military, about 23 years old, traveled over to Arizona. I guess Mississippi first for my basic training. Or tech school, sorry. Started playing over in Mississippi, played in Arizona, played in Portugal, played in Germany, played in Afghanistan, and then came here. And, social media, I'd never really done it on the music side and really thought how to get famous, although you see people like Bieber and people on YouTube get discovered that way. And when I got here and right in 2020 when it kicked off, I started going around to local places like, hey, you guys don't have bands, but I play country music. And at the time, I didn't see a lot of country music artists at all. There was like one more guy that I knew about who's now in Nashville, and he was the only person I knew about. So I started playing the Broken Oars, my first show, and started playing ever since. And a couple of years doing that acoustic and trying to build the MiGGS brand. And then brought Bobby Jackson on as my guitarist and music director, and he helped put the actual live band together, and he handles all that back end stuff. And now it's just been growing ever since. And we've been playing some big shows, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm excited for 2026. Released my first album a couple months ago. Got a new album or new EP working on when I went to Nashville a few weeks ago. And then I'll have those starting to release in February 13th of 2026. So
nice, dude.
That's my story in a jam.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Miggs.
Thanks, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Dude, that's so cool. And you and I met, I can't remember if you had reached out to me or if I reached out to you on Instagram, I think
so.
And then the first thing that we did were the videos.
It was Grindr, actually.
It was what? It was Grindr.
Oh. He DM'd me first.
No, I think it was Tinder, but
that makes sense too. Or Bumble for Friends. What is it?
Yeah, Bumble
the
for
female
Friends.
version.
Did you hear about the new one they have for kids? It's like for dude, like what could go wrong?
Oh
right?
my god,
Come
that sounds
on.
terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, it was definitely Instagram.
I think so. Yeah, because I saw a video that you did, and you're like, "Hey, I do video," and I was like, "Oh, sweet, let's do it."
Yeah,
and it worked out from there.
Yeah, and we did those videos, 3 videos, right? In Cult Classic.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Man, that was the first time.
Those were cool, man.
That was fun.
In the
basement.
warehouse. It kind of looked like the basement. But the concrete wall behind you, I think, actually ended up being pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good time. And then we did our first full band show at Twain's last January. Had you record some of that for some promo reels.
Was that your first full band, really?
No, so that was my first full band at Twain's, and actually that was my first full band with the guys that I have now.
Okay.
We've actually, so in 2020, last was 2024, was the first full band show I had in February, and I had a different drummer and a different bassist. And you know just how bands work out things, just differences, personality differences, and putting together a band is hard. I mean, we all know it, whether it's bands in tune or whatever. It's like nowadays.
I kicked Mike out of my band like 3 or 4 times.
I completely understand.
And then there was just
he's
no
a big
one else.
personality, you know.
Yeah, got a lot of ego over here.
He was taking too much of the spotlight, you know.
No, it's all about creating good relationships for me. Is how it started out. Is I like to think of myself as a good salesman. It's just why I actually left Austin, because I was trying to buy out a portion of the company I was working for. It was called Austin Provisions, which sells Boar's Head deli meats and other things to like local grocery stores and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the guy wouldn't fund me the rate that I was trying to get for half the company to sell off. And I was like, well, okay, if I don't leave now or if I don't find a trade, I will have no reason to leave Austin. And so, you know, my dad had always encouraged me to join the military and the Air Force, and I did that. But back to the wholesale thing, Twain's, you know, Bill Shue, he took over Twain's a few years back, and my buddy Mike DeGrania knows him really well, and he was like, hey, my buddy Miggs plays, and started playing acoustic shows in 2022 there. And then it was like, hey, let's try to get you on the schedule in 23. And then in 24 finally happened. He's like, let's get you a couple shows in here, man. Let's do it. And we packed the place that night. It was really cool.
That's a nice spot in there. Like,
it's great.
It holds a lot of people.
It does. And I think the coolest thing is people that have started watching me since Father's Day of 2020 have been coming to many of my acoustic shows and duo shows and seeing the full band in that regard with lights and full production, everything else. They're like, dude,
it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it feels like a concert, right? And it's totally different atmosphere. And it filled me with a lot of pride. Like, my friends like, dude, this is a show. Is that MiGGS up there? Holy crap, you know?
Yeah.
So
no, I mean,
cool.
I was going to say, man, the full band, you guys do a great job of putting on a show.
Thanks, man.
And your band, I think, fits really well with a venue like Twain's, where it's, it is a concert. It's not like a concert. It is a concert. And it's big, huge stage and lights and everything, and everybody's in there partying and they want to dance, and they want to interact with the band and everything. Right. You guys do an awesome job with that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
And you did an even more awesome job at what was it, PyroJam?
Oh, PyroJam.
I was really impressed, dude. That was that in July?
Yeah, that was August 23rd.
Okay. Man,
that was a lot of fun. That was an interesting dynamic because of the whole power outage with the generators thing.
That sucked. Yeah.
It did. It threw, like everything, you as a show, you want to have everything kind of dialed in with like a schematic or whatever else, like a roadmap, because you get there a couple hours before set up and you have roadmaps, how things are supposed to go. I've never wanted to do a show with any band where it's just like fly by the seat of my pants. All right, we're going to play this song next, I've seen bands that do that, and it's good for them. It works for them. But for me, I'm here to put on a show. I'm here to be hired as a professional. I'm here to be hired as an artist. And, we had this conversation earlier of being taken seriously. I don't want to be known as just an artist that is unprofessional. I don't want to be noticed as an industry band. It's MiGGS, independent country artist with the band kind of thing. And but it's not just a one-man show. It's Bobby putting the band together. If something happens with our drummer, having a backup person, or just being able to run different dynamics, and social media, all these different things. It's a lot of people together making one thing happen.
Yeah, so they were running off a generator at this PyroJam show, which was down in Southern Maryland, and the generator kept going out. Man. And it sucked because it was like they would start playing, and it happened to another band too, terrible. Right?
Justin Taylor. Yeah, Justin Taylor band. Great artist, by the way.
Yeah, he was really good. They would literally start playing, and the generator, it would just, all electricity would just go away. Man. And it happened several times. And then they were, I think, if I remember correctly, they were trying to get it back up and running when you guys were starting.
Yeah, right. So it cut out on Justin's last song. Then we were getting, or let them get it figured out. And it was, 30-minute turnover between them getting off and us getting on. And we started right about to do that first note, and it was like, and I was like, oh man. Gosh. And it took probably about 45 minutes or so to 50 minutes to get them even processed to get it back on. And then it stopped again, or like it froze again. Every time we were about to get started, it went out. Yeah. And so we actually ended up doing a little acoustic session, because why the heck not, right? And it was myself, Toby, Bobby, Matt, and Tench. We all got up there he got up there with his snare and guitars and just started playing acoustically for everyone that was out there. And it was a lot of fun. So everyone had to really gather in. And then about 30 minutes later, able to put on a real big show and make it worth it. But definitely had to tailor the 90-minute set list down to like 30 minutes. And, talking about the industry band stuff is, I want to play a lot of originals, all my originals if I can. And so having to tailor it with somebody that doesn't know who you are and keeping the show dynamics there, right? Because we all know if you're playing covers, everyone knows the covers. But when you play your original, everyone's like, I don't know this song,
right?
Especially for a brand new crowd. Now, when I'm playing at like Twain's or something local here, everybody knows all my originals, so they'll sing along till the end of the day. But,
right. But that was an hour and a half away.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, it was super cool, man. Like they all just came up to the front and did an acoustic set. And this is a big production. I mean, it was a big stage with, I don't even know what the term is, but the big like supporting things,
like array speaker. Oh yeah.
I mean,
there's a full soundstage setup.
Yeah,
I mean, 100%.
The stage was like 4 feet off the ground, 5. You know what I mean? Huge, and it was really cool. You guys all just came up. You're like, all right, screw it, we're just gonna do acoustic. Yeah. Tench grabbed like just the snare drum and came up front. It was funny because you were like introducing everybody. and you're like, intention on the drums, and he was like, drum. Like, I'm on one drum.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. About 7,500 people that night, and the coolest thing was PyroJam. For those of y'all who don't know about it, it's the biggest fireworks festival on the East Coast. So it's a bunch of countries that compete for pyrotechnics and fireworks and stuff, and then it's the last 3 competing countries that put on a light show for basically the next hour.
Countries?
Countries, not like U.S. countries. It was Germany, Japan, and somebody else.
Gosh, dude.
And you can attest to this. I mean,
it was wild.
If you ever been to the IMAX theater, how it literally just goes everywhere, it was kind of the same thing. And it kind of felt like I was in the sphere, but I'm like, holy no, this is real freaking life. From end to end, you had to do this just to realize, holy crap, the fireworks are everywhere.
Yeah, I was thinking when I was watching that display, it is really cool how they have it choreographed to specific music.
Right.
But I was also thinking, like, one of the bands should be playing right now. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been super cool to have the live music going on. I mean, could you imagine playing
really cool.
with your band while this huge fireworks show is going on, like right in front of you? That would have been super.
That would have been super cool. I thought for some reason that like First to 11, so it was Justin Taylor, myself, and then First to 11, which is a band out of PA, very big YouTube sensation. And I thought the year before they were supposed to they did pyrotechnics for that headlining band, but I'm not sure why they didn't do them this year or whatnot, or if it was supposed to happen or never was supposed to happen.
I would guess that the country's teams, or whatever you want to call it, participating probably don't necessarily want to do that because they like have it choreographed to specific music. Right. So, but it could also be like an honor, like, hey, we want you to, do a show, impromptu fireworks show to this band that's going to play.
Maybe some insurance things there too as well, because if you get burnt from somebody else's flame, like how does that work?
Could be, yeah. But yeah, man, the fireworks were insane, dude. They were like not like fireworks that we see on 4th of July, like a huge spread, and they had them all like laid out on the ground, so it was like all these ones like shooting back and forth like next to each other, and then one's coming from the sides and coming together in the center. It was all like it was kind of like I don't know how to describe the type of music, but like national anthem kind of music. You know what I mean?
A lot of music scores, movie scores.
That kind of stuff, like cinematic style music. Cool. Yeah. It was pretty neat.
Did the bands play after that or before that?
Before.
Okay.
So they had a whole bunch of food vendors at this thing. It started at, I want to say entry was about 1 o'clock. 12 o'clock they opened the gates. 1 o'clock was the first band. Maybe 3 o'clock. Yeah. For a couple of hours, they have people walking around and getting their spots, and it's basically in a big old lawn in St. Leonard. And they have the stage set up like if you were to walk in, you're the entrance, I'm the stage, and he is where the pyrotechnics are taking part. So you kind of have everyone facing the stage during the shows, kind of giving that entertainment, that full festival kind of feel, and then everyone watches the fireworks afterwards. So like at the same time, you realize that people may be there to see you, but they're mainly there to see the fireworks themselves, and you want to give them the best show possible. And it was really cool because there was guys families that I hadn't seen in years that were randomly there. You're like, oh, Miggs, I didn't know you were playing here. Like, absolutely. So it was really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
So you were mentioning, you like to have a set list, and you want to have a flow to your show and stuff. Do you have like do you have banter that you sort of have like pre-planned and that sort of thing?
Absolutely. So it's become easier over the past year, obviously, since I've been playing with these guys for so long. And, just like any musician or artist, you start to learn the traits, the good habits, the bad habits, and how everyone just intertwines. So it's like, so for me, we run cliques, and that's actually one thing that we've definitely made it. It's an official thing where any artist or any person or musician that stands in, guitar, bass, doesn't matter. Hey, we need you to play to a click. If you can't play to a click, unfortunately, it's not going to work because we're all working adults, full-time jobs. Getting practices in for anything is extremely difficult. So if you know your music, you can play to a click. There's no reason why you can't play this because we're going to play it 90%. How it's supposed to sound.
Okay. When you're doing covers or your own, you're playing
covers or originals, either way.
Version kind of thing. Okay.
Well, what was your question? Sorry.
Banter and like interaction with the crowd and each other and that sort of thing.
I usually have banter within all the songs and pre-notated as far as how the set flows. But Bobby has a talkback mic that he'll talk into and just say, hey, can you give me some time? Or, hey, let's do a little banter here, or just kind of things like that, whether I miss cues or just kind of help give extra cues there too. But over the past year with all these songs, we have 3 set lists, and we'll mix maybe a couple more songs in here and there as we kind of continue to grow our set list when it comes to cover music. But predominantly the banter is just kind of inserted every time.
What kind of things do you do to get to sort of create that connection with the crowd? Like what kind of?
So for me, I like to play a lot of my original music, if not all my original music, in the first set.
Okay.
Because, you know, the fine line that I've been walking, especially when having a band, is they think MiGGS is a band versus MiGGS artist, right? And so trying to tailor that thing. So where the first set we'll play like 3 or 4 song covers, like, oh man, these guys are really good. And I'm like, hey guys, my name is MiGGS, and I'll start doing an introduction. I'll take them through like a storyline and tell them kind of basically what we're doing here, give them my story through each song. Like, hey guys, this is the first song that I ever released back in 2024, you know, and kind of give my spiel about who I am, how I got here to Pasadena, where I'm from. Play my song, and then I'll play another cover, and then I'll play another song and kind of talk about that song, kind of like a writer's round, if you will, but with a full band and kind of working it all into there. And then afterwards, I don't just sit under the green room or wherever else on the sidelines. I go out and talk to people. And when I was maybe a year or 2 in, one of my buddies, Zach, told me, he was like, you know, one thing that sets you apart from other bands or other artists is that you go talk and mix and mingle with people and say, thanks for being here. Whether you're here for the food, the drinks, or actually here for the music, I appreciate it. It develops that connection with each person.
For sure.
And, you know, we'll take our 15 to 30 minute break and come right back into it. And it's like, wow, this is awesome. And it's been easier and easier because now that I have things like merchandise or business cards or even music on Spotify, I'll pass these things out. And people will look me up like, oh, dude, this guy's legit. He's got singles all over everywhere. He's got magazine publications from everything. And just, you know, my resume continues to build, and it continues to aid to that banter that I pull and how to get people involved and engaged.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
So
Where do you think, you know, all of that, like the talking to the crowd in between sets, trying to develop that connection, the banter where you're talking to the crowd on stage, the professionalism of having everything planned out, even playing to a click is part, like, where do you think all of that is I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question, but like, it's all, you know, very professional, right? And it does lend to the topic of this podcast, which is like having a business. And like, where do you think all that came from? Is this stuff that you learned?
I think it's just me being a salesman, to be honest with you. You know, just like anything.
So you feel like you had that salesman like in you?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So, I mean, how do I put this? So I'm doing this class that's called National University with a buddy of mine, Corey Brunson, and he's taught me a couple things of like, you got the gig, now play for the next gig. And you play the gig to get the next gig is what he says. And it's funny, I've always kind of followed that mentality anyways, because, you know, people will see me for the first time everywhere. And for me, it's like, I want to sell the show. I want to sell my product. This is what I've got, because I can do great here. But if it doesn't get me another gig at the next place or even here, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my band's time. I'm wasting my time away from my family. You know, we got into this whole conversation of like doing corporate gigs too. And we talked about this and the differences between those. But it just comes back from me trying to be a very personable person. It comes back to me always wanting to make people smile. And as an artist, being up on stage, being able to share my stories, people come in again for the music or whatever else. Music is so transcending, and I love it, because no matter what kind of music, that live atmosphere for music just brings a whole new realm to everything.
Yeah.
And but being able to sell that and make people smile, like, man, you did a good job. I really connected with that song, or I love this music, and you know, I've had a bad week and this just brought me out of it. Like that's it for me, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, I can totally understand that. And even, you know, there's so many different things. Even when you were just talking about the in-ear monitors and like Bobby being able to communicate with you, hey, let's have some banter here, and you kind of have it ready to go.
Yeah.
And then it also made me think of at Twain's, you had that monitor.
The stage prompter.
Yeah. And I saw that. I was like, damn, that's fucking professional right there. Like that's huge. Just to, I don't know, all those things together, it gives a very like it's all well thought out, you know.
It's a well-tuned machine, oiled machine, right? That's what we try to give. You know, it's funny. I get people making fun of me a lot. I've had people make fun of, you know, people, the iPad thing. There's a few things that any cover band or any band in general will narc at. It's iPads on stage, clicks, and stage monitors are not. And I'm like, you know, welcome to the 21st century, dude. Music is, stage prompters are a thing, and it looks seamless. And you know what? We're playing 3 to 4 hour shows. Now, if I'm playing like a 30-minute gig or a 90-minute gig, I'll know all the songs. But at the same time, as a singer, as a musician, that's a lot of music to play.
It is.
Sure, you have some songs memorized, but when you're playing with the band and trying to remember cues, and all you need is that one or two first words or that first chord, and then you're like, okay, now I can ebb and flow into it. But yeah, having that kind of stuff just makes it that much easier to make sure you have a great show. So
I've been playing many times where I'm playing a song that I have played 500 times, and I'm start strumming, and I'm like, what's the first line?
Yep.
So you just got to see, you see those first 2 words, and then you've got it. You know what I mean? And then it just flows out. But having those things as a backup to just look down, right, and then you got it.
Yep.
But you're right. You know, an iPad. In one way, it is kind of commonplace with like small solo acts in a bar, but it really doesn't look very professional. You know,
it doesn't. And for smaller acoustic gigs, for sure, iPad phone, do your thing.
Right.
It works. I still do it. But like if I'm trying to do a full stage performance,
Yeah, you don't want an iPad.
Yeah, no, you don't want that.
And that's my point. That's my kind of thing. If I can, anything I can make, especially because, again, drawing that fine line between artist and industry band or cover band, whatever it is, if I'm trying to sell my stuff and photos and things like that, we're spending high dollar money on videography, and I'm trying to sell this to a festival, and I have a band with 3 guys with iPads on stage, and just it doesn't create that dynamic of what you're doing,
right?
Or a lot of that, and still a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And again, these guys, people that you're selling to, they're going to spend money on you, hopefully thousands of dollars for you to play a 30-minute to 2-hour set. And you want to make sure it's copacetic,
And an iPad on stage just doesn't look very sexy.
It doesn't.
In a nice photo. You're
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. But again, like at the same time, if my bass player or guitarist, they have iPads on stage, sure, or try to mask them in some way. Put a bandana or American flag around it or something. Kind of make it look a little bit easier or tailored to the image.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. So the other thing is, so when did you start playing solo gigs like in bars? How long has that been?
I was probably about 18, 19 years old.
Oh, okay. So it's been a little while.
It's been, almost 2 decades. 30. I'm 37 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you said you weren't going to give that away.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Oops. Well, there you go. What was my first car? A Subaru? I'm just kidding.
Okay. I was thinking that it hadn't been quite that long, but
and that's the thing. Like when people look at me like, oh, you've been playing in Pasadena, and again, the branding image of everything. Like, now I've been playing since I was 15 years old, but I've been playing in bars since 18 or 19, playing in different cover bands. I've been doing different musician gigs or gigs in general acoustically since I was young, even playing in church bands and stuff like that. Again, playing in different states, different countries. And then just coming here is finally getting its own image, right? Getting the photography, getting, whether it's my wife taking photos, whether it's you taking photos or taking video for me or whatever else it is, it's finally getting everything put onto stuff where people can see like, oh, this is what he's doing. Yeah. So it's really funny because I've got my one of my videographers in Nashville. He's like, dude, I see you're really doing a lot of stuff this year. I was like, oh man, you don't even know how much stuff I've already done. It's just I've had this more on a platform now because I've been able to put money towards that to get that to happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, I tell you what, Terry Hahn, who's a local photographer, and she does a lot of freelance stuff for a lot of bands around here. And she was one that really helped get us up into Fallston area because she's just done this for so long and she knows so many people that when she took some photos and videos off her phone and some cameras off her Canon and posted that, they're like, here's this band that play this music, and they're like, wow, we really want them. And it really helped outreach to other places. And every time you post us, it's post me or whatever else it is, it brings me out to a whole new audience. This podcast is going to hopefully invite a lot of people.
You're going to blow up after this podcast. No doubt about it.
100%. I'm excited because YouTube has the new, the invite collaborators. We're going to collaborate on it. Yeah, they do. It's pretty cool. Actually, I was able to collaborate on the PyroJam video he gave to us, and I got over, 18,000 views, I think, on it.
The PyroJam one,
Yeah.
I think it's got thousands for sure.
Yeah.
I was when I last looked at it, I was like, wow, that's got quite a bit more than I was expecting. So, and I'm sure the collaborator thing helped a lot because probably maybe 12 of those views are from Image and Sound Media. But yeah, the collaborator thing, they should have brought that to YouTube a long time ago. But
They really should have.
It's cool that they have it now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It is cool.
I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I know it was on Instagram, but
yeah, it's the same kind of deal. You know what I mean? It says like MiGGS and Image and Sound Media, and for that last video that we posted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So you have a day job as well.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
And then you have a family.
I do.
And can you tell me a little bit about how you balance your time with all those things?
My
I don't think
wife.
Can I? Dude, your wife is awesome. She takes great pictures, by the way.
Thank you.
She seems so supportive of you. It's very endearing to see and watch. I
appreciate that.
When I'm at a show and she's dancing around and
She is my biggest fan, and people like to look at it. It's like we like to make a joke and say we're just disgustingly in love.
Yeah.
And she is 100% my rock. She's 100% my better half, and she's just amazing.
Yeah, man, that's super cool. I was going to ask you. I don't think I've ever asked you what you do for your day job.
I can't tell you that.
You can't. No. You'd have to kill both of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
No, I'm in the IT field. I'm a network engineer by trade. Been doing it for 20 years. I've been, again, Air Force for the last, it'll be 14 years in February. And that's where I started getting into professionally in the IT field. I've always been doing things like for security and routing home networks with my own house or whatever when I was younger, and was able to translate that when I got out of sales into the military. I was trying to leave, and something happened in my life where I was like, I need to leave like now. And so I emailed my recruiter. He's like, I got this job for cybersecurity, transport systems or whatever that leaves in February. It was like 2 weeks later. I was like, put me down. I'm out of here. And it really helped me branch into a whole new world of what I'm doing now. When I was over in Germany, I did 3 deployments to Afghanistan. I met a lot of people in the networking field, and I started interviewing all over the world. And I was like, I have a 5-year plan once I get out, and I landed here. And everything on that 5-year plan has absolutely hit the mark, and it's been really cool. So, but back to your question, IT, network engineering.
Okay, interesting. My question was I wasn't trying to step on top of your question. It was supposed to be like an add-on kind of.
Oh yeah, balancing family. My wife is or Google Calendar really helps, but it's balancing. It's been tough over the past couple of years because, just like any business, you guys know it for sure, you're constantly engaged with calling, texting, and now with social media, right? Trying to stay relevant. And there's been a lot of discussions on how I balance that. So it's like when I find a gig where it was trying to be like once or twice a month, and it became like 4 times a month. And even, when I had to cancel earlier in October because my voice is out, between months of August and October, I had 18 shows. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, it was something that loved the opportunity. I'm like, wow, I really need to rethink this. Becoming less is more, because every opportunity seemed to be, this is a great opportunity. Hey, Country Calling, you want to play it? Yes. Hey, do you want to play at PyroJam? Yes. Hey, do you want to play here? Yes, yes, yes. And it became, whoa. Then it became like for 2026 where I'm like, look, it's going to be quality over quantity. Yeah. Let's plan this out right. We don't have to play every show, every gig, every bar. Let's play 1 to 2 times a month and plan it out. We can play in Pasadena this first section. We'll play in this area the second quarter, but don't play in the same place twice as a band, because then it saturates your mark, saturates your brand. But before every gig, I talk to my wife, and I communicate with Bobby too, because again, he's the second in command. I talk to my pops, who's my band manager now, and talk to all them like, hey, what's your availability look like? Let's discuss it. And it doesn't matter what the price is. It's like, what do you think? Are you available? Can we make this work? If no, cool, we'll move on. If we can, all right, sweet. Let's talk to the band. Let's see if they're available and kind of go from there. And it's been a lot of love from my wife and the wives in general, being like, yeah, do it, but let's look at next year to try to not do it so much.
Do you, when you're saying you don't play in the same place, are you talking about the band or the solo or all of it?
The band.
Okay. So you'll do like a solo show in Pasadena even if you're doing a band show.
Right. So actually, I have residency. I'd say residency is a pretty cool name, but Primo Pasta Kitchen. It's an Italian restaurant in Pasadena. Great
Also
place.
Bill too, right?
Yeah, and I played there third Thursday every month for the past couple years. And it's always been a really great time because at that point I get to introduce some new music that I've been writing.
Yeah.
Everybody knows me. We pack the place and they close at 10. And there's been times where I've been in there till about 11, 11:30 because everyone's just having a good time and they're like, keep the bar open. But when it comes to band stuff where I've played and I have to be strategic about it, for especially country music, being in the water, where I don't like to play the same venue in the same like one in January and then one in February, just because it doesn't seem to bode well, right? It's kind of the same thing with a lot of these contracts with bands that you can't play in the same in like a 30-mile radius within 30 to 45 days. That's the kind of same ideology I like to stick with.
Yeah.
But for like stuff like we're that play at Primo or whatever, I'll play that acoustically for sure during the winter and the fall months or whatnot. During the summertime, I try to take a break because again, you get those different opportunities, and I don't want to not oversaturate, but overwork my family, overwork Bobby's family, overwork the band's family, kind of a thing like that. But be open to those opportunities. So,
And you're working 40 hours a week at your day job? That's impressive, man.
40 hours a week. Full-time dad, full-time husband, full-time musician, basically, running the business. I've got an LLC, everything for it. So, and that's another thing I try to help other artists, whether you're small or big, doesn't matter, is realizing this is a business.
Yeah.
When I go down to Nashville and do these songwriters rounds, I'm talking to these guys and girls or whatever, like, oh, do you do this for a business? Oh, I don't know. It's a part-time job. I'm like, so do you have an LLC? No, I haven't thought about it. Well, why not? And keeping, as an artist, and this is other things that I've kind of been instilled into me and described to me as like, as musicians, when you go to some of these bars and venues, you kind of feel like you said, oh, over there in the corner, versus being treated by these corporate gigs of like, have you eaten yet? Kind of like a photographer, right? When you're a wedding photographer, they're making sure you're fed. When you do these corporate gigs for photography, they're making sure you're taken care of as well, because it is a professional thing.
Yeah.
And it's all a business, so it's just trying to full-time everything.
That's amazing, man. I I think about, you were talking about constantly being on the phone or responding to text messages. I got a phone call while we were setting up today, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And trying to do that while also working a full-time job. I couldn't imagine, dude. I had to quit my full-time job in order to do this stuff full-time. And, I still am. I feel like I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off sometimes.
Don't get me wrong. I still am.
I'm sure.
I still am.
I can imagine.
Are you able to work on that stuff at your job? Like,
No.
can you? So
it's all after before hours or after hours kind of thing.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
Yeah,
Man.
But again, because over the past couple of years, I think I've gotten so much traction and so much great quality content when it comes to videos and photos. It's easier now to where I can kind of like, okay, continue to coast up and glide, as opposed to I'm still trying to build things. I'm still trying to get people know who I am as an artist or who we are as a band to book us wherever else, and trying to tailor that for each individual venue. And, like I'll send out emails and CC my band manager and Bobby and everything on it and just kind of do email blasts and constantly be persistent. We all know that we have to book August, September, October for 2026. And again, it's been easier for now because people start to know who I am, and I can send them a video of one thing you took at Twain. Like, wow, these guys are really good. Boom. Let's no more needed estimate. Let's discuss cost and time and all that kind of stuff. So It's been really helpful.
So the writers rounds that you're describing, are you talking about going in like a writing session or like a performance of writers?
Performance writers rounds.
Right,
yeah.
cool.
So when I go down to Nashville, so I brand myself as a Nashville-recording artist or country artist, Texas-raised Nashville-recording artist, now based in Maryland, basically, right? It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But it really does help this round because, again, that is what I do. I go down to Nashville, I record all my music. When I'm down there, I play some shows, whether it's writers' rounds or solos, or, there's 3 or 4 people on the stage with different places like Right My Wrongs or Getting the What Up the Get Up and Nash Bash Collective. There's a bunch of different organizations that do these organized writers rounds where everyone does an hour set with 3 to 4 people. You play your songs, and there you go. I got to play one. It's called The Local. It was really big. It's called the Music Row Freak Show, and one of Lainey Wilson's writers actually hosts that. So which is pretty prestigious, and I didn't realize how big it was. I knew it was something great I want to be a part of because a lot of great people have been on there. But I got to play that when I was down there. But that's the whole idea.
Are those paid gigs?
They are not.
Yeah.
They are not. Which is okay because again, it's one of those things where I get to talk to people and kind of make those networkings and those connections. Right. And when I get to get their social medias and they get mine and they realize, oh, wow, this guy's got more of a band, or I get to meet these bands and like, hey, well, whenever up here, if you need an opening act or whatever else, I'd love to help you out, or let me know when you're in town because I'd love to come see you as an artist or a full band, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's all that networking. It's really cool. And then again, it's more content you get to put out for all of your stuff locally. This guy's been here. This guy's been there. There's been a couple of country artists that have done that local. Eddie Johnson goes down to Nashville. Brody Keene, who's lives in Nashville. Justin Taylor, who's down in Nashville now, all these guys that are recording down there and doing that stuff and coming back, because just like anything, if you're part of a certain brand, and not knocking producers stuff up here, but it's nice to go down there, get studio musicians and get this product that that you want, and then come back and release it out, and it helps the whole brand as itself. So
yeah, I was going to ask you that too. Like, and it sounds like you answered it, but when you're recording in Nashville, you're not using your band, live band. You're using just
studio musicians. Yep, correct. So actually, like this next 5 songs that I'm doing, I had it's Ben Rito, Majestic Ape Studios, had Austin Adams, who plays lead guitar for Luke Grimes' band, who so that's Casey from Yellowstone, if y'all ever seen that show.
Okay.
And then Rich Redmond, who's on the drums, is been Jason Aldean's drummer for the last 26 years. So getting to meet those people and give them some merch. And heck, Rich wore his Let's Get a Little Rowdy shirt on the Jason Aldean band when he's taking out to Lafayette that afternoon.
Oh, that's cool.
It's pretty
man.
cool. And he's like, dude, when you get these songs, send them to me. I'll play them on the bus.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And that really helps another establishment of networking.
It's one of those, it sounds like it's one of those situations where like the exposure actually is worth it.
Absolutely.
Like, as opposed to up here where they're like, hey, come play this show. We can't pay you anything, but you'll get lots of exposure.
Right, exactly.
What kind of exposure? Totally different kind of exposure.
Yeah, but at the same time, one thing I tried to make it a goal here this year for recording or just artistry in general is work with, co-write with a lot of other artists, because I never found myself as like the best writer by any means. So, we can all get writer's blocks when you write songs, but working with other writers really helps get you out of that rut, or just get you good ideas, different ideas, new ideas. And so I've been writing with a couple different artists, Ben Kennan down in Arizona. I wrote with Mac Berry that I met at a writer's round at 49 West back in October of last year. I wrote my song Party Ride that I released on July 4th with Dean Crawford and Kenny Wise, and that was produced by Scott Spivey up in Falston, or Perry Hill, I think it is. Yeah, that's what it is. And again, everything kind of localized, and that was really cool because, the notion of this is all Maryland made kind of a thing. So it's really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting because that song does have, there's something about the sound of it that has a kind of Maryland sound.
Well, and that's exactly what I was going for. My pops was like, you need to write a drinking song, a party song, and something that kind of like relates to everybody in Pasadena Bay Area kind of a thing, right? Because everyone's on the water. And it's so funny. People are like, why don't you move to Texas? Come down to Pasadena. Let me show you. This is exactly why. You're right on the water. It's great. It's awesome. And you got 4 seasons. And to be honest with you, I used to do a lot of camping and overlanding. 3 hours west, you're in West Virginia. 3 hours east, you're in the Atlantic Ocean. And driving on the beach in OSV and Assateague, it's just a great area.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole song was written for that kind of Zach Brown, Kenny Chesney rock vibe, kind of countryside. So
Yeah. Very cool song.
A lot of good influences on that one.
Absolutely, man. And let's not forget, we do want you to play a tune before we're finished here today. So
you can definitely make that happen.
What do you have in mind?
I'll play a new one. Actually, this is it hasn't been released yet. It'll be kind of like a teaser. This one is called One Sip Away. So a friend of mine, Kim, she messaged me on Facebook Messenger one day. She's like, I call her my Maryland mama. She's a wonderful lady. And she said, honey, I've got a song for you I want you to write. It's called One Sip Away. That's all I've got. I want you to write something like that. I was like, okay, One Sip Away.
She had the title.
That was it. Yeah. Okay. And, a lot of times that helps. It's really cool. And so I wrote this song and I played it a couple times in Nashville. And each time I get this, I like it. Head bob. So it's a really fun song. It's a really cool song. It's funny because I actually and I'm playing this now. I'm kind of going against everything else because it hasn't been released. I've been told not to play unreleased songs at writers' rounds and such, especially in Nashville, stuff like that, because you never know who's going to be there. And,
Meaning like somebody could steal it?
right.
Yeah.
Right. So, however, so that's the one thing too where, like BMI or ASCAP being registered, every song I write before it's even released, the second I write it and I think it's a done, polished kind of thing, as far as lyric wise, I'll register it in BMI. And so that way lyrics are registered, everything's already registered.
I didn't even
and
know
then
about
I'll send it off to the trademarks for the US. So again, it's all trademarked and everything else.
Nice.
Interesting. So don't get any ideas, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. One sip away.
2 sips away.
Wait, 3 sips away.
Dude, I just saw a reel of like Vanilla Ice back when he was like trying to explain how his beat was different than whatever song.
Oh, then Ice Ice Baby?
Yeah.
Yeah. The MC Hammer or whatever.
I just saw it yesterday. He's like, nah, but see, mine is like dun 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 psh. But theirs is like dun 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 psh. Mine's totally different.
Well,
It's like the same thing.
but I will say at the same time, music is so there's only there's 4 chords that you basically play in the chord chart, like Nashville number system or whatever else. There's what 8 notes in a whatever octave.
Yeah.
7 notes, 7, right?
Yeah, well,
and including the first and last. But either way, it's like there's so many ways you can play a hit song.
Yeah.
And music's been played for thousands of years in different ways. What's his face? Ed Sheeran, when Marvin Gaye, that family was trying to sue him for copyright infringement off one of his songs. He's like, dude, I can play you a song right now with a bunch of different things. He won his lawsuit, but he was like, look, if I lose this lawsuit, I'm done with music. Because how many other ways can you write something with something not going to sound the same way?
Yeah.
So
that's
I mean, there's chord like you're saying about the number system, like the chord. There's just chord progressions that get used, but there's so many ways to like make them different,
right?
But yeah, there's obviously going to be similarities.
Yeah, and what Bittersweet Symphony, right? That was they just got the rights back to their music maybe a couple years ago, but all through the '90s on that song, they were sued by, I can't remember who it was, but some other music label or band, and they got all the royalties. That song has happened numerous times.
How do they even determine whether like?
Dude, it's crazy. They bring in like specialists into the court, and then it's like, but you've got to explain it all to a judge, right? Who doesn't understand music.
Right.
And it's like, it's kind of
there's this one lady I watch off Instagram and TikTok. Her name is Liz. I can't remember the last time. I'll have to find it. But she's been talking about that. Like there's music lawyers, and then there's like an audio attorney that listens to everything to basically verify if it is or is not the same. Like there's a whole thing behind it.
I'm sure there is.
Like thousands of dollars to get that stuff worked out.
I don't doubt it, man. I'm sure it's probably kind of interesting to like see that process, like see them maybe reviewing something that's been, somebody who's been sued for copyright, and like what are the determining like did there have to be a certain amount of different notes, or the timing need to be this much different, or whatever. It's probably extremely boring, actually.
I wouldn't be able to do it. I would not be able to do it.
Should we do the song now?
Yeah, sure, man. Are you down with that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
All right, awesome, man.
All right. This is One Sip Away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Barstool's got my name on the same spot every night. Neon hums a melody in this old dive bar light. Bartender knows the drill, don't even have to say. Pour it strong, let it burn and drown the memories away. I swore I was done calling, swore I moved on, but here I go again, yeah, I'm back where I belong. I won't sip away from dialing your number, one more away from saying I love you. 3 deep in, I'm missing your touch. 4 shots down and I'm needing you too much. I keep telling myself that I'll be okay, but I'm always just one sip away. That old Merle on the jukebox ain't helping my case. Every song is a reminder of the love I let fade. I swore I'd never chase you, I swore I'd let it die, but tequila's got a way of bringing bringing back goodbye. I'm one sip away from dialing your number, one more away from saying I love you. 3 deep in, I'm missing your touch. 4 shots down and I'm needing you too much. I keep telling myself that I'll be okay, but I'm always just one sip away. Bartender, don't you listen, take these keys away. 'Cause if I hit that road, I know I'm heading straight. I'm one sip away from dialing your number, one more away from saying I love you. 3 deep in, I'm missing your touch. 4 shots down and I'm needing you too much. I keep telling myself that I'll be okay, but I'm always just one sip away. Hey, I keep telling myself that I'll be okay, but I'm always, darling, just one sip away. That's one sip away, coming to you next year in 2026.
All right, Mike, give us your genuine reaction to that song.
All right, so for real though, I love that song. That was awesome.
Thanks, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I really like the little like intro riff that you put back in, you know, in between the verses, and I don't know exactly when you put it in.
Turnarounds, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The E minor was a nice surprise.
Dude, wait, if you listen to the D though, like how it just drops.
Yeah, dude.
No innuendo there. But
I love the
How the D drops? Do you like it?
Yeah.
You like it when the D drops, do you?
I love the counting thing. The 1 sip, 2. I can't remember what the 2
1
was.
sip, 2 sip, 3 sips away, 4 I'm needing you too much. Yeah.
What was one? Oh, 3 deep was it?
Yeah, 3 deep in, I'm
like,
missing your touch. Yeah, 4 shots down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This song is kind of sexual. 3 deep in
Yeah,
when the D
you know,
drops.
Joe.
I think we can make anything that way.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just my mind is in the gutter. That's probably
R.
what
Kelly
it is.
over here. Maybe a little Genuine, probably not R. Kelly.
Oh, Genuine. I do
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Genuine.
right.
I like the neon light reference. I don't know.
yeah.
Like I always like neon light references for some reason.
Yeah.
It really does kind of get you in that, like, you know, not dive bar, but like neon like rundown
Yeah,
bar on the wrong
yeah,
side of tracks kind
Imagery,
of thing.
right?
Yeah.
It puts you in that spot. So.
Whenever I picture a neon light, it's kind of like blinking on and off.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And you hear the buzz and zzz,
Yeah,
zzz,
yeah,
zzz.
exactly.
Yeah.
I also always like a chorus where everything else kind of drops out.
Before
like
it starts, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a quiet
Absolutely.
like chorus where like the music is still there but low, but you're still singing the chorus.
Yes.
You got a little pickup.
You can never go wrong
Vocally.
with that. You
Oh,
know?
absolutely. Like right after the bridge or right after the solo where it's like
Yeah, yeah.
a half chorus, if you will, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right after the bridge, right? Is
Yeah,
that where it
yeah,
came in?
yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the chorus after the bridge where
yeah.
okay,
You
yeah,
hear
yeah.
that in a lot of like well-written songs where it's like you want to hear that chorus one more time, but you want to change it too, so
Yeah.
it's like everything else drops out a little bit,
Yep.
or maybe certain instruments drop out. You know,
Well, what I like that too. Actually, I really do
I like it
notice
more
that.
than you.
You do like it more than me. I like how you cut out before you start each chorus, right? One zip
Oh, yeah.
away,
Yeah.
and then you're back
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
You know, so
Kind of, it's almost that anticipation, you know.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
gives that.
so did you write that yourself or
I
with?
wrote it all myself.
Wow, dude.
That is myself.
except for the lady who came up with the name. But
That's true. That's true.
yeah.
And that was the challenge, right? Again, I always want to become a better artist, a better writer, a better performer. And when she sent that to me, I was like, I already know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it was just so cool to get just a title to it and kind of build it around that.
Yeah.
And it really did work.
Has
So,
she heard it yet?
she requested every time. I played it at Primo like 3 weeks ago when I
okay.
played. And it was the first time she heard it. And she was just in tears, like, that's so amazing. When
Yeah,
I played
dude.
at the Rumor Reel a couple weeks later with the full band, I played it at the end of the show, and everyone's like, wow, that's a really good song.
Mm.
And again, as an artist, when you play anything you write, it's just kind of, it's your baby, right, if you will. And, you know, you're putting your own mind and your thoughts or whatever out there, and you want to get a good reaction, a good feel back for that song. And it felt very genuine from everybody. And obviously what you guys are saying right now,
Yeah.
too, it's like, heck yeah. And then it's really cool, too, because you guys do this every day, all the time. You're songwriters, you're artists, and then like to hear that validation from everybody else, it's like, man, all right, I got it, you know.
Yeah, man, I'm not a songwriter, but I admire good songwriting, you know, and that was. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass or anything. That's like good,
because my ego can barely fit through the door, so I won't be able to leave here.
I hear you. We got a lot of ego in this room right now,
trapped in here like the marshmallow man.
Yeah, right. But no, like that. My first thought was like, that's a real song. You know what I mean? That's not just like something that some dumbass kid put together in his bedroom. You know what I mean? Like that's a song that was written, which, you know. You mentioned earlier how you don't really look at yourself, or you hadn't looked at yourself as a songwriter. And then you just told us that you wrote that by yourself. So do you think that like the songwriting sessions, I'm sure you're going to say yes, like those sessions have helped you with writing songs, but like how do you get from, you know, not being that confident in writing songs to then like, do you think that just came out like, it was lucky, or
I think it's just constantly being surrounded with music in general since a young age. I know what's catchy in my head, and for me, when I write music, I actually write kind of like I hear a lyric or a hook in my head, and I'll write it off of that.
Okay.
Your country song was kind of that, and actually your country song. So all my songs on my first album were written by me.
Okay.
The music for your country song was written by Bobby Jackson and myself. We took it to Ben Reno and we did a whole big thing. So he's got I guess music composition credit on that song as well, and he's got some music and some lyric credits on these next few songs as well. But Party Ride was by Dean, Kenny, and myself. But all these other songs, all written by myself, all with hooks. And your country song was like that. 2 separate songs that I actually mixed together, because it was the chorus and the second verse was 2 different songs. I mixed them, like, oh, that really worked. Because if you notice in your country song, it's kind of a different tune. The second verse kind of throws it all off and then brings it back in. But how this has all worked is just kind of hearing my influences from anywhere from Luke Combs to Kenny Chesney and all that kind of George Strait, and that country kind of vibe, and understanding the imagery and the language that they kind of use in those songs and using that to mine.
I got you.
You know, and everything was strategic for me when it comes to writing as well, because I want to write these bangers, quote unquote, and these fun bar songs that people can dance to. But I also want to write stuff that's meaningful. And you know, my wife has a lot of inspiration to all these songs. You know, Spend My Days, I wrote that a couple weeks in dating her. You know, a stubborn ass man, like I said, don't let the cowboy hat fool you. But when about 2 weeks in, I was driving home and she was just on my mind, and I was like, I really love this girl. And of course, being a stubborn guy, like, no, but she kept on pursuing me, and that's how that worked out. And then, you know, the second song I released after your country song was I Missed You, Dad, on Father's Day, written from my father, my stepmom, and my best friend who I lost in my 20s. Well, my stepmom and my best friend, and then lost my dad in 21. That was a tribute to them. And then Spend My Days for my wife. Promise You Forever was written for my wife as kind of like a way to slow down time and realizing I'm a man that always needs your touch. I need my wife. I need my girl. And the constant influence, like, hey, guys, date your spouse. Date your significant other. Don't ever – it's going to be easy not to, because life is life. It travels fast. But stay intentional, and I think that's the key to a very good, successful relationship, to keep that kind of alive. Something to write about, same idea. And then, you know, yeah, it's all been musical influences. I will say the flip of that coin is the expectation for you to write a song.
Yeah.
So I think you both know, in May, my wife and I lost our son at 6 days old.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we had when he had his vigil and ceremony, everyone's coming up to me like, you're going to write a song about him. And I'm like, well, of course I would love to, but what? Guys, we're barely celebrating him. Come on. Like, the expectation to write something is incredibly, like, interesting, you know, of like, you need to write something now to do it. And it's just like a songwriter's like, it just doesn't come, you know, you got to sit down. But so, yeah, it's all just been influential over time as I've grown up. So
I would imagine, I mean, I'm just guessing, like, people probably didn't have any ill intention with saying that, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not, like, songs don't just pour out, just come out.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, that's the thing. Like, when they say that, I'm like, of course, I'm definitely going to write something. And, you know, it's hard. That whole part of it, on a side part, the grief, man, is like no other. Losing a child, you're part of a club that you never wanted to be a part of, and there's no timeline on grief. There's no direction on grief. Yeah, everyone grieves differently. I'm grieving completely different than my wife, and it totally makes sense. She, grew a child in her belly for 9 months, and I got 6 days with him, and it's so tough. But she's moving forward every day, day by day, step forward, and so am I. And even getting out back on the stage, and like music for me over this past now 6 months has been a way I can healthily help, a good coping mechanism, right? A good distraction, not distraction, but a good coping mechanism. Being out there to play for people. Like I said, bringing smiles to people's faces. I've never been a fan of people that use their platform to say politics or whatever else. But at the same time, like I'm up there smiling and playing music for people and tell my story. And people come up to me like, man, that's happened to me too. And the honest, 2025 sucked. I lost my grandma 3 weeks ago. And I lost a good friend of mine in February. And I think to myself of like, if I can constantly put my faith up there, if I can constantly put smiles on my face and put smiles on others, hopefully if they're in a bad place, maybe they can realize, what, I can be better. I can get myself out of this, whatever it is, and bring joy to them as well.
Yeah, man. I'm kind of at a loss for words.
No, sorry.
I've got like something in my mind. You know what I mean? I think what I was going to say is, it is amazing. And I don't mean to like blow too much smoke up your ass. You know what I mean? But like Jen and I have talked about it many times, like and we don't see behind the scenes, you know what I mean? We see you guys in person and on social media and that kind of stuff. But, it's like the word grace like comes to mind, like the way, and I'm trying not to get choked up in the moment. It's amazing, dude. Really, the way that you guys appear to cope with things it's incredible. I'm not even sure if I should mention it, but just because we're on the topic, like Jen lost a baby about 3 months into it.
It's hard.
And I had never experienced that before, and it's like an indescribable thing,
right.
And I just couldn't imagine, man. So
it's tough, man, and loss of any person is tough. Loss of a child is holy crud. Losing a father, losing a mother, you kind of, as we get older, losing a grandmother, we kind of expect that to happen,
right? Something so unexpected,
right?
Yeah,
whether whether it's, I don't want to say a miscarriage or whatnot, it's still loss, it's still pain, it's still hard. And unless you've been through it, you don't know it.
Right.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate that compliment because, I praise my wife every day for it, of how she just moves forward. And I have a daughter from my first marriage, and, she was in over the summer, and how amazing she was during that process of still grieving our child, but being a wonderful stepmother to her. And just going to work 12 weeks later after it, and she works as a reproductive health nurse where she's dealing with that kind of stuff, so it's like, she's doing whatever she can to make herself better, where it's, therapy or group things or whatever that have done that, sympathy groups, I guess they call it. But, there's, again, no timeline. It still all hurts. It's never going to get easier, but it's a big compliment that you say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there's a lot of, like therapeutic value in being open about it, because I see like what like posts and stuff that you guys have both made, about it and commemorating, it's admirable, dude, is all I'm trying to say. Is like, it's an amazing thing. It also makes me think about, like, you mentioned how your wife is your team. You guys are a team, and I know, Mike, you and Amy are like, the definition of a team, you know what I mean, when it comes to life. And it not to get too sentimental, what I mean, but right. It's really, it is something that I admire. I don't think I've ever told you that, but I admire that a lot about you guys. I'm trying not to get choked up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, it all goes hand in hand, man, with like success and business.
It does.
And, life.
It really does.
And something like that, like, I mean, grieving, like just what you said about, you understand that she's grieving a different way than you. That seems like a small thing, but that's a pretty huge thing, because marriages break up over that, where you have one partner that's experiencing something totally different, and like they don't understand that, you know, like just as an example, like the wife maybe builds resentment towards the husband because the husband's dealing with it in a different way. Right. And it's like, well, you don't even care. And, you know, and just understanding that she needs what she needs and you need what you need. And like, that's okay. Right. And like, you're going to support each other in those realms. It's like, that's the difference between, because that can tear, I mean, that's a big deal, man.
I think, you know, whenever we were finding everything out, and like that was one thing I knew, I said the success rate of couples, families that lose a child and ending in divorce, and I'm like, we're not going to be that. Not to mention just that, I mean, even second marriages statistically, right? And it's
first
just
marriages even nowadays.
You're right. I mean, there's so many distractions, so many ways to break it up, and I'm just so thankful that, and I don't say this lightly. I say this in the best way possible. I'm glad I have to go through it with her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nobody else would I rather go through this worst thing in the world. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, your wife, Amy, right? Mm-hmm. Team. Me, my wife, Courtney, team. You and Jen, team, you know? It's the greatest thing, and successful kings had successful queens next to them.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a huge part. And I think Jen and I are a good team. We're trying to, you know, get to a point where it's like we're really a team. You know what I mean? Like develop that. So it's something that I see, you know, in you guys and other people too. And it's like it's a thing that I'm trying to work toward. You know what I mean? And like stuff like that, being able to like you mentioned, like understanding how somebody else is like, that is one of the most difficult things in the world to do, is like understand how somebody else is like processing something, you know, or like what somebody else is going through and what they're possibly thinking. I mean, there's no way to really know that.
As guys, we want to constantly fix things, right?
Yeah.
So try to, like, all right, take a step, listen, and listen. Just listen. Shut your mouth. And I'm king of this. I can talk for days, right? Nope, just listen. Just listen. Shut up, Miguel. Because I tend to talk out loud.
It's one of the hardest things to do, to like listen to a problem that she's having and not try to like offer solutions, you know?
Yep.
Man, that's so hard to do.
You know, all of it makes sense together. And with music, with what life has thrown at my wife and I, what life has thrown at me in general, what I've done with my life, you know, I'm God has a plan for me. God has a plan for everybody. I'm a firm believer in that. And like everything, was it that Darius Rucker song, for every stop I didn't take, and you know, all led me here to this. Like it all makes sense, right? And maybe it'll make sense when I get older. Kind of like Olaf said in Frozen or whatever. But you know, it's crazy. But I'm glad I have who I have with me by my side going through this battle.
How did you guys meet?
We met. Excuse me. At the Broken Oar Bar and Grill in Pasadena.
Really?
Yeah, she's originally from Maryland.
She saw you playing and she was like, "That's my man." No, not at all, actually.
So Dave Thomas, one of my best friends, we were deployed in Afghanistan together in 2019. I moved here to Maryland, Severn, in December or November when I started my first job here in the States. And about 3 months later, I moved to Pasadena because I was like, all right, now I know the law of the land. I want to move here to a bigger place. And he was like, oh, we're out at Broken Oar, come out here. And I met her and all of my friends. And about 6 months later, we started dating and going from there. It was one of those not typical. It was one of those things you always look for, like having a friendship and a foundation beforehand. And, you know, it's one of those things.
Part of your life is not like romantic and perfect. Is there any part of,
you know,
Miggs's life?
Maybe it's just my good way of selling it, right? Who knows?
Fair enough.
You know, I get a lot of flack for this, and even my buddy was saying this during deployments to some people of like, that guy's always too freaking positive.
Was your first date like a picnic under a giant oak tree?
No, our first date was actually at the Park Tavern right here in Severn, Severna Park. All right. But then we took took a boat ride in Annapolis.
A boat ride, of course, yeah.
Of course, a carriage ride afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's, you know, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I always have been, and
that's awesome, dude.
I would say for me, again, my faith has always carried me through everything. Mm-hmm. But 100%, I can't have a really bad day. I'll feel it for a second. I'm like, all right, let's go on to the next thing and move forward.
Dude, in my opinion, like I'm terrible at retaining that quality. Sometimes I'll hold on to that like positive glass half full kind of thing for a while, and then I'll let it slip away. But I definitely believe that is like one of the best things that any person can do for themselves is like try to be positive.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Remember what you're grateful for.
Right.
You know, things could always be worse.
Yeah,
You know, that
yeah,
kind of
very
thing.
true.
Yeah, it's a constant work for me.
Man, me too.
I have to really work at it, but you know, it's definitely the way to go.
It is the way to go. And, you know, we were talking a lot about that when Dale was on the show, you know, that mentality, you know. So.
Yeah, it's constantly working, man. But again, it gets annoying to a lot of people. Like, dude, Miggs, you're always such a smile. Well, what the heck? What are you drinking? What do you smoke?
Why
What's
is
in
that
that cup?
annoying? Why is that annoying?
I think a lot of people just find positivity just overwhelmingly.
I can understand
like,
how-
dude, you're too much energy. You're too much this. You're too much that.
You are kind of like a golden retriever a little bit.
100%. 100%. Yep.
But I like it. It makes. I was like when you walked into the bathroom a minute ago, I was like, God, I feel like such a slug. Like, like Joe, or like you're like, yeah, I work 40 hours a week and also do all this other stuff. I'm like,
Mike and I listened to your story. We're like, we should just give up. Let's go get a job at McDonald's. We're never going to amount to anything.
But I'm like picturing myself later this week with some sort of adversity. I'm just gonna be like, what would Miggs do?
What would Miggs do?
We'll put it on a bracelet.
No, but seriously, man. I mean, that kind of stuff is, it does. I think Mike and I like kind of agree that one of the big reasons why we have like people on the show is to get inspired and
Yeah,
like,
it's very inspiring. That's what I mean. That's what it's to me. It's not annoying. It's inspiring. It's like, man, I could do this.
Well, I appreciate that. And I hope it is. I really genuinely hope that my personality, the things that I bring to the world or whatever else it is, can bring people inspiration to smile more, to be happy more, to understand that the glass is half full and it could always be worse. I think one thing, when I was growing up in my 20s, I always read a lot of self-help books and God books or whatever.
In your
else.
20s?
In my 20s,
Wow.
growing up.
That's awesome.
One of my biggest things that I learned was Earl Nightingale, the best kept secret is we become what we think about. You know, that's the greatest success. The salesman is a good salesman because he thinks about being a good salesman. A successful person is the fireman that went to go out to be a fireman. You guys doing your podcast, that is successful, right? And measuring your term of success is different. It's different for everybody. Even as an artist, you ask every artist, what's your plan? Do you want to be, you ask Cavosi, right? That's what his name was?
Cavusi, yeah.
Cavusi. So he was like with his artistry and doing it with his wife and then doing the photography side of, do you want to be famous? Do you want to make a lot of money? What's the goal?
Yeah.
You know, I can never define my goal as an artist. I'm like, I'm just kind of doing it until I can't. And I feel like I'm riding away because I've been doing really good at it and continue and then whatever else. But I mean, you think about all these artists of anything, of any artist or writer on the one-hit wonders or not, where they at today, like everyone has their moment. But at the end of the day, sure, I want to do this as a hobby until it's not. And if it's not, eventually in a few years, like, okay, cool, hang up and just play local shows again and enjoyed what I did for the last 5 years, but I didn't lose myself or lose my family while doing something I love to do.
Well, like you were saying earlier, I'm sorry, but I always have something to say.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Like you were saying earlier about 2026, like let's move our focus to more corporate shows, right? Like how are we going to continue this? Are we just going to keep going and spewing it out there and, you know, whatever direction it takes me in, or am I going to hone my focus, you know, some more?
Well, and then doing those corporate shows, like we talked about earlier, they're better paying shows for the same amount of time or less time, giving you the availability to do these shows that aren't going to pay as much, like festivals or benefits or whatever else, you know, because those mean just as much to me, and that's what the whole goal is. Like, and at the same time, when you're corporate gigs, just like I've been doing with venues, when people are like, oh, you play original music? No. Well, yes. But I play covers as well to make sure, and it's all ebb and flow, right? The first set of any gig is always kind of like, because people are just now getting there. They're just flowing in. They've been drinking. That's why a lot of people have openers. Then it's the next two sets where everyone gets up, and you try to you ride that into the third set, or you take a break because it's like, all right, I need a break because I've got to go to the bathroom, whatever else it is. Or you just ride on through because everyone's having such a good time. You don't want to ruin that. You know, you want to. That's what you're there for, to bring up that atmosphere.
Yep. And something else I just thought about is, no, I can't remember it. But
about $1 for everything he thinks about, right?
I'm telling you, man. I got lots of thoughts, bro. I don't take action on many of them. Man, I'm spacing out.
You were saying about separating the corporate from the public, I guess. I don't know.
I would say separating as far as brands, right? So I have my LLC, MiGGS Country Music, and trying to separate the corporate gigs because the corporate stuff is very polished. It's very like you're dressing the part, you're being the part for that. And I don't want it to get dissolved into the MiGGS artistry part of things, like the country artist part of things.
So what are you called when you do corporate stuff?
I haven't figured it out yet. So like understanding the business side of everything, I understand DBAs, doing business as. Even for my release of music, I have Rowdy Bay Records, which is my music label, my record label. So that's under that for a DBA. And then for my other DBA, which is all under MiGGS Country Music, but it's going to be notified as different because I don't want to tailor myself into just MiGGS Country Music for corporate world. I want it to, whether it's like, Latitude 33 entertainment services or whatever it is that hires MiGGS Country Music for that gig. Trying to keep things separately. So like it's a separate website, it's a separate entity. Like I just don't want people to know, oh, he's only a cover band.
Right.
Now, I don't mind if I'm at a festival and I'm playing, a 45-minute set where I've got 2 covers and 6 originals. Sure, that's a different story because that's a lot of people do anyways. If you go out to all these festivals where people only have 4 or 5 songs that 4 or 5 songs and you've only heard one song from this artist, they may pay a full set of covers because they want to play their hit that everybody knows at the end or the beginning and then go from there. But just trying to maintain separation from it, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just to be sure I'm understanding, you're saying the corporate thing, you're doing more covers at corporate gigs?
Correct. Correct. I mean, obviously, depending on the idea, if I can put an original in there, absolutely, and tailor it the same way I'm doing it now. But it's
still country music.
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
So it's not like a different.
No, I'm not playing like 90s and 80s music, stuff like that. No,
You were going to do a Prince cover band. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, absolutely. Purple Rain.
Dude, I just heard this awesome Prince song that I'd never heard before called You Got the Look or something like that. You guys ever heard this song?
I don't know.
Dude, it's so cool.
You should sing it for us.
Yeah, sing a little bit of it.
The look. You got the look.
Sounds like my
goes like that.
Yeah, it does sound
something
like
it's. Yeah,
I can hear it.
It's so 80s.
Yeah.
I heard it on the radio. I was like, "Who is this?" And I asked ChatGPT, and it was like, "Oh, Joe, you're absolutely right."
You were like, it's Michael Jackson. You're like, kind of sounds like Prince. Oh, you're right, Joe.
I told it that it sounded like Prince, and it was like, "You're absolutely right, Joe. That is Prince. That's a song from blah blah blah." And anyway, sorry. I remember what I was going to say a minute ago.
What is it?
You were talking about the corporate gigs, and like I'll still play those cover gigs. I would imagine that having those corporate gigs, it does allow you to play those other gigs, and like, there's no pressure at all. Not that there's a lot of pressure on those types of gigs anyway,
right.
But I know that like sometimes I can be grumpy that I just drove, even though I'm playing music for a living. I can be grumpy that I just drove an hour and a half and I got to load all my gear and by myself and play 3 hours and nobody's clapping. And then I got to pack it all up myself and drive home.
Right.
And, sometimes I'll be sitting there playing and I'm like trying to remind myself, you're getting paid to play music, dude. Like there's nothing to be grumpy about.
Right.
But
I mean, at the same time, there is. Because again, one of my buddies on my Facebook feed the other day was like, hey, musicians, stop taking these low cuts because we do this for a living.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
And again, where if I can play, say like I play a corporate gig and you're getting paid anywhere from $2,000 to $20,000, whatever it is, and then I play these other gigs that are like, hey, we can only pay you $12.50 for this really cool bar, but that's what they have. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm okay with that because I have money in my business account enough to be like, hey, musicians, I can pay you this. This works, right? Yeah. And let's put on a good show, and then you make 2 or 3 fans that follow you on social medias or start listening to your music, and then you have some more fans there. It kind of all works. It just makes it all copacetic, and you're still putting more money in your pocket as a business because, again, we're not trying to do this for free.
Right.
But at the same time, we want it to be sustainable.
Yeah. You got to make a living.
Right. And if with all the gigs you play, you can make $1,200 a gig and play 40 shows and still only make like $42,000. I'm like, but you could also make 6 figures if you tailor your stuff this way.
Yeah.
And I just want it to be more. I just want to try to find a little bit more profitability in the music stuff to help fund the independent side of things.
Just that right there is like such a good outlook. Like my outlook since I've started playing more corporate stuff. Now when I go to the bar, I'm like, gosh, I'm in my mind. I'm like, this is only this much, and I just made this much for playing half. I made twice the money playing half the time yesterday, but thinking of it more like, okay, like, yeah, I made twice the money yesterday. Now I'm doing it, just like,
Yeah.
Now this gig is like, I'm just having fun, and I'm making a little bit of money. You know? It's all about how you look at it.
And that's the thing too is one thing I've realized is not to price yourself out of venues. Like I've been reached out by venues that are 2 hours away. Hey, can you play an acoustic gig? But we can only pay you a couple $100. I'm like, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I can't do that because it's just not lucrative. That's logistic-wise. It's 2 hours, 2 hours to get there, an hour to set up, 4 hours of music, then plus times back. Like that's I'm getting paid $5 an hour, whatever else it is, right? Yeah. And I hate to tell you no, because of course I would love to do it for you, but I can't. Where's your wiggle room? I need it to make sense for you because I'm bringing music to you, but I also want it to make sense to me. I want it to be a mutual relationship and benefit to both personnel.
Yeah, and it's a fine line, man, because some venues just can't afford it. And on one hand, I can understand that at times, but I find myself getting frustrated sometimes with like lowball offers. Right. Like, come on, you don't think I'm worth more? Like, $200? Yeah. Come on.
I don't know if it was you 2 years ago or a year ago or something. Somebody else maybe. I don't know. It was a thing like, hey, it was a whole analogy or a proverb basically of musician asked to play at this venue. This venue is like, no, I'm not going to pay you that. Okay, let me. You want to take some music lessons here? Learn to play guitar. Learn to sing. Right. Learn to take a photo. Learn to take this. All right, I'm gonna charge you for each one of these, and this is why I'm paid what I'm paid. Right. Like, let's be honest. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 different cameras here with a lot of money and lenses. I'm like, and I love photography, so I know. And I'm like, this is why what your rates are because of such. Right. And when I hire another photographer or videographer, and this is why his or her is this rate, or this is why this is that rate, right? It totally makes sense. What value are you bringing to whatever your customer is?
Well, I think also like that's where the salesmanship comes in too, which I'm not great at. The whole salesmanship part is something that I find it fascinating just because it doesn't really come naturally to me. I don't know. Biggs, I'm going to help you out real quick. You got a little fuzzy hanging from your... you got it. Oh, okay. Never mind. I really just wanted to touch your face.
Yeah, is it there again?
Hold on, let me just check. Yeah, I got it.
Joe, I've always thought of you as a pretty decent salesman.
Really? Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I'm not like bad at it, but I see other people that have that, like, you just talk to them and you're like, that guy's a salesman. You know what I mean?
I think the hardest part, and I don't want to, even for your fan base and your audience, I don't want to sound off as cocky, right?
No,
that's my hardest part, because just for any artist, be confident in what you're doing. Be confident in your email that you're sending. Put yourself in that space on the outside. If you were the business, how can you make sense to them? How can I make sense to you?
Well, I look at a part of salesmanship like you're going to talk to the fans when you're taking a break. Right. That's part of salesmanship, I think. Yeah. It's making that connection. It's not necessarily like just, the guy that knocks on your door trying to sell you the vacuum or whatever, and this is the best thing ever.
Well, why is it the best thing ever?
Right. And it's really a piece of junk, you know. That's one kind of salesman, but just being personable. I'm a fairly personable guy, but I find it's a weird thing. Like if I'm playing, I find it difficult to like do any kind of banter. Yeah. Or to interact with the people. I will if they initiate it. Yeah. Or if somebody's like, for example, I was playing in Newark and I did a cover of Black, the PyroJam song, which I love that song. I love that song. And the people right in front of me were like, dude, that was really cool. And they started talking. And then I'm like, okay. And then I just kind of naturally like start talking to them a little bit. But man, I have a hard time. Maybe it's anxiety. So I'm not sure. But it's weird. It's like I wish that I was a little bit better at doing that. Like Mike, it always makes me think about when you were in Rehoboth and at Zog's and you were like talking to that lady at the bar. Do you remember that?
I mean, not specifically.
I was doing a video for Mike and I can't remember exactly what you said, but it was like, I think she was kind of heckling you a little bit. So
I love that.
Oh, I know you do. It really like amped you up and you like started heckling her back. And I was just thinking like, damn, dude, that's ballsy. Like I wish I could do, but it wasn't like, it didn't turn bad or anything.
Other people like that. Like
they do.
The spectators love it.
And she liked it too.
Yeah,
like
usually
you were kind of like taunting her a little bit, Yeah, giving it back to her. Yeah. I don't know. It's all like, to me, part of salesmanship in a way.
I've noticed it doesn't take much. Sorry to.
No, go ahead.
But like, what I think of is like, if I was in the audience, what I would need to feel connected to an artist is like more than what most people need, and like simple, like just, hey, how you guys doing tonight? Like, let me know if the volume's all right or whatever. Just something, just simple, just to initiate a conversation, just to like acknowledge that, so they understand that, hey, this guy's like aware of us. This isn't just another. He's like this is like somehow specific to us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
you're playing to this crowd, not just playing for
or for them.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've noticed too, as far as like, if I look back at old emails versus now emails, everything starts to get tailored a little bit better to everything. Whether it's a booking agent, a festival, a venue, or whatever else it is. I've actually found a lot of success. Hey, good morning. I'm reaching out on behalf of MiGGS, Texas-raised Nashville country artist, and insert everything. I've noticed on your website. That got an assistant. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've noticed on your website that you've had this and a lot of great success there, and MiGGS and his whole team is really think it'd be a great fit for him to bring his show to you on solo, whatever, and kind of like giving that little sales pitch, and then going into who MiGGS is, what he brings. Here's my EP kind of
MiGGS.
thing. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
MiGGS' assistant.
But I mean, it sounds stupid, but it's almost like talking in third person kind of gives a whole new dynamic to, okay, because again, people are going to get thousands of emails a day. And again, once you sell them, if you were able to capture a great video in 15 seconds, 20 seconds, no more than 90 seconds to a minute, 2 minutes, and they're like seeing that, like, okay, it's good video, it's good audio, he, she, whatever, they sound great. He sounds great, she sounds great, and it goes from there. Like, I've noticed a real big turn on investment. Actually, your video from Twain's 100% helped me get that Country Calling gig.
Yeah, you mentioned
because
that. Awesome.
So I've been working on a part-time basis with Full Moon Entertainment here locally, and 2 years ago I tried to call him like, hey, help me book some stuff. Now I've been able to kind of flip the script and be like, well, we're all eating at the table. What are you giving me more? Because now as a booking agent, they're going to take a top, percentage off the top. Like, but I'm already working with these venues. How can I get into these other ones? But when we worked with them, they're like, hey, we have this Country Calling, you want to do it? And I was like, absolutely. Do you have any video? Here you go. So I sent them that video, and they're like, the guy looked at it for 5 seconds and was like, we want him. We want them. And then, like I said earlier, playing the gig to get the next gig, we had so much success. The guy messaged me later the next day and was like, dude, you had such a great time. We had such a great time. We'd love to have you back next year. And then even another place from Country Calling's group, I think it's the Loonies Out in OC, messaged me like, hey, we have a festival in May we'd love you to play at. We also would love you to play the pre-party next year if we can make something happen. So again, playing the gig to get the next gig really helped. And that's all part of the salesmanship to it as well.
I like that mentality, man. I'm going to start trying to keep that in mind. Like, you know what I mean? When I'm just playing bar gigs. Like, even though I've got other ones on the calendar, but it's still like, maybe there's somebody in here that owns a bar or that owns a venue that, that happens to me sometimes, mainly with like private parties.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
People will come up and be like, hey, do you have a card? We have this party or whatever. But
and I love private parties.
They're the best.
They're so much fun.
Yeah, they are. You usually get good food. Usually get paid a little bit more. It's relaxed.
Absolutely.
I have a funny story though, a private party story.
Please tell.
You probably have a similar one. I'm sure both of you guys probably do. But so I played this party this past summer. It was awesome. The people were great. The spot was amazing. They were, filthy rich people. They had a second or third home or whatever, and it was on this farm. It's really cool. But as soon as I got there and I'm like setting up and everything, the lady who booked it, she mentions like, so I see a guitar in a case like over in the corner, and she mentions, oh yeah, my brother-in-law's best friend or whoever he was, he plays guitar too, and he just flew in from blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh cool, okay. And then, so long story short, the dude wants to come up and play.
Oh gosh, of course they all do, right?
Not his, like, I would have been like, bro, you can sit here and play for an hour if you want to. I'm still getting
take over.
He wanted to play with me, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. And dude,
did he play with you?
Yeah, he stood next to me. I didn't have another mic. I did, but I wasn't gonna say that.
Yeah,
only got one mic.
But it wasn't like, it was one of those situations where like he just like he played one song. And then he played, and I'm being nice. I mean, it wasn't terrible or anything, but it's like, I don't know. It's just weird, like playing with somebody that you never met, you never rehearsed with or anything. And
no idea how good they are. Or
so
bad.
he ended up playing like the whole set with me, dude.
Oh no.
And as the set went on, I'm like getting less nice and less nice. You know, I wasn't being mean or rude or anything, but like it was just such an odd.
Well, so that's one thing. It's funny because I have very similar stories. Or there's always one.
Yeah.
Freebird, or can I come sing with you, or whatever else, right? But when I wouldn't say younger, but when I started doing shows here, everywhere in the set, I'd be like, hey, is there anyone else that plays music that has always wanted to take the stage and play?
You ask them
Oh,
that.
absolutely. And this was probably like the first 2 years where I was doing acoustic stuff. And I was pretty consistently successful with it, right? Where someone came up and they played a song that they wanted to play. I'm like, dude, that sounded great. Gave them a little platform, a little energy, be like, hey, I've always wanted to do this. Great. Yeah. But then I started noticing where it was men and women that just sound absolutely terrible. So I started having, as it's gotten bigger with certain venues or whatever, I'm like, nope, I'm gonna dial that back unless I know them or they know or somebody in the band knows them that they're of quality, kind of like interviewing anybody for a position on the band, right? You don't want to put a singer up there singing Tennessee Whiskey and they can't carry a tune of a freaking Matchbox, you know? But it's
we're going back to the mentality, you know, and the positive thing. Like if you were me in that situation, you'd have been like, hell yeah, man, come on, let's jam together. And I'm like, will you get the fuck out of here, dude?
I don't know, man. After the first time, I'm like, all right, thank you so much. Y'all give my cheers. Yeah, let's do this. Give it up for the party.
That's a great way to do it.
And that way, because again, if you don't, they just stick like leeches, right?
Yeah, and that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, okay, dude, are you ready to get off the stage now? Because I'm ready for it.
Right.
Oh man, I got to take a quick break. I got to use the bathroom real quick.
Was he sidemaning you, like just like noodling or what? What was he doing?
He was. I mean, he wasn't like, you know, just mimicking me and singing. I mean, but he was singing along. Luckily, he didn't have a microphone. But dude,
He knew the songs you were playing.
Some of them he did, yeah. And I mean, he was good enough to, you know, play some different chords or whatever, like along with me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, my timing is not the best, so like I'm just playing to myself, you know what I mean? And like him trying to do that along with me. So there were a lot of times where like his strumming was just way off of mine.
Yeah.
And it just
tough, makes it hard.
And he's singing in my ear and I'm like trying to hear myself.
So I actually lost a gig one time. I won't say where, but it was around here. I was playing and a buddy of mine who's really good was like, hey, I got my guitar in the car. Can I come up and play with you? And I was like, yeah, man. And he came up, he played. It was great. It was like they got a duo for the price of and at the end of the gig, the girl comes up to me and she's like, look, you know, I paid for you to be here. Like I didn't pay for you and Russ to be here. Like, you know, like
that totally makes sense.
And so I'm very careful about it now. Like if someone asks me, I just say, look, we got to clear it with the manager or whatever. You know, because I'm like scared I'm going to lose another gig.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it was good. You know what I mean? Like it was like, it wasn't like, oh man, this is terrible. But it was, I don't know, for whatever reason, she was just off put by like the fact that I took it upon myself to like bring someone else up without checking first.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that does make sense. But I'm like,
Never
at the same time,
mind.
if it sounds
they are good, why would you carry?
I know. It still doesn't quite make like, I don't know.
I can partly understand that. But yeah, at the same time, like, if the music's good, if it sounds good.
And I even asked her, I was like, did it sound bad or something? And she was like, no, it was fine. But like, it's not what I hired. I hired you. I didn't hire you and him. And
sounds like she might have been having a bad day.
Control freak or something.
Very bad day.
Yeah. But so, yeah, I'm just like, well, not happening anymore.
I gotcha. So tell us a little bit more. You just recorded an album and you're getting ready to release it?
So I recorded 5 more songs, so I guess an EP. So for any other independent artists out there, I do the waterfall effect. Well, I'll release a single, then 8 weeks later I'll release another single with that single I just released, and then continued on like 1, then release 1 and 2, then release 1, 2, 3, and then release, you know, kind of thing.
Is that kind of like the way to do it nowadays?
It's 2024, according to some of these YouTubers that I've watched, some of the podcasts or whatever. It's been well to success, right? Because it draws that new song that you just released, and then backtrack to the other 3 songs that you've already released, and it uses obviously DistroKid or whatever distribution company used the ISRC to kind of reference it. So all those tracks come on the same. So when you look at my album, and I have that whole album out together, there was a couple songs in that album I hadn't released that were released with that album. So you see like Your Country Song or I Miss You Dad has almost like 200,000 streams over the last couple of years, or since last year of June. So I'm releasing 5 singles next year. starting February 13th with One Sip Away that I just played for you guys, and then I'll do 8 weeks later another song, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So I'm very excited about it. I'm excited in general what 2026 has to offer. I think Maryland has been the most amazing opportunity for me to be a part of when it comes to music, and I'm so glad I moved here. When it comes to just what this area has to offer for live music, there's so much food at the table for every artist to eat.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly endearing when you go to other areas, other places, and realizing, dude, bars closed down in COVID or whatever. I was doing a showcase for Hugs Radio a couple weeks back and talking to some of the artists there locally and the bands, and they're like, dude, nothing is here. It was like near Pittsburgh, and like, dude, it's hard to play out here. It's hard to play here and there. And, you know, as artists, I don't think we realize how fortunate we are to play here in this venue. I mean, there's so many venues.
Yeah, dude, I was looking at moving up a few different places, but one place was like upstate New York.
New York, right? Yeah, I remember hearing that.
And I was like, there's nowhere.
Right.
It's just not a thing. It's like there's not live music. It's like I had no idea. And then even just like out in like going to like Salisbury, it's like, I mean, there are places that play, but the rates are so low.
Right. Yeah.
I guess because there's a college there. I don't know why that is, but it's just like, whoa,
It's
man.
tough.
It's like
They probably have college kids that are willing to
just
play.
play for free or whatever.
Yeah.
$200 on the dollar kind of a thing, and totally get it. And Maryland this area has been awesome when it comes to artists, music, and everything. I mean, you think about it, you got 3 artists right here. And it's coming from Austin, it's a dog world out there, even in Nashville.
Yeah, I bet.
Everyone's trying to play for themselves, and everyone's trying to feed themselves, even because there's still a lot of bars, but there's still only a lot of bars.
Right.
And it's such a big puddle. People ask, why aren't you in Nashville? I say, because I'd rather be a small fish in a small pond rather than a small fish in a big old pond. And like, what am I going to grow there that I'm not doing here?
Yeah.
At this point, and no offense to anything or anybody, it's not about how good you are. It's about how can you trend at the end of the day. But like, you know, here, meeting you from him when you were help setting up that first time we did that first 3 songs or whatever, a year and a half, 2 years ago now. Yeah, 2 years ago now.
Mike was a lot of help that day.
He was.
I was on point.
And then, you know, meeting Dean and Dean Crawford and the Duns River Band, Justin, Mark Bray, all these guys, Scott Spivey, who produced Party Ride, and just everybody, meeting Bobby and then everybody from there. And everybody's just so good about community when it comes to helping people get to other places. Justin told me one time, and I use it all the time, a tide raises all ships. So be the tide. You know, if at the end of the day, there's a new artist coming up, I'll promote him if you can. Do whatever you can to help him or her be successful because you were once that person.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether you did things right or wrong, maybe you can help them on their journey.
Yeah, well, it seems like the whole idea of not necessarily living in Nashville, but like going there for chunks of time. Jason was talking about that, you know, like that seems to be maybe a more common thing these days, as opposed to like just moving there full time. But I can imagine there's probably a ton of good artists in Nashville. I mean,
absolutely.
But trying to stand out amongst all of them is a lot more difficult than
it is.
But you have access to like, it's the idea of like, I can just go to Nashville and I mean, a studio musician is going to play. I would imagine they have a rate, and if you're willing to pay it, they're going to play on your record.
Every studio that I've researched has their own price rate, right? And then like for 1 song, 3 songs, 5 songs, whatever it is, and that's all developed by the studio. So I don't pay directly to the band musicians. Okay. They will. So I work with Ben Reno so well because originally it was first 3 songs. Let's see how well we work together. Brought in a couple different guys, for that band, and then the other 5 songs that I did from this last release was different musicians all around. And so it's, again, that's all planned by Ben. And when we were talking about doing these next ones, and I told him what kind of idea as far as what the music should sound like and gave him that, he's like, I know exactly the guys that I need to get and go from there. And so it worked out really well.
Will they do that? Like, I don't even know. Like, if somebody who is just terrible, but they have money, will a studio still say no?
I have no idea. That's up to the studio, and I'm not going to. Well, I will say, like, we all know that AI is a thing. We all know Suno is a thing, and I've heard plenty of artists locally and abroad that can't carry a tune in a bucket, but seem somehow to get music written for them, or they're writing, and you know they put it out.
Yeah.
To each their own.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like anything. The same guy that's working for $200 as opposed to everyone else that's trying to work for $400, it gets diluted somewhere, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, there's always going to be some kind of conflict or friction with any kind of business.
If you got money, you can get anything done.
100%. That's how Cowboy Carter or whatever wanted to try to get in the Grand Ole Opry by Jay-Z banging her way in, and they were like, nope, see you later. Adios.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's the thing with, if you guys might know, this Moneybird character who got his jiu-jitsu black belt in like three years.
I don't know.
And it's like a big controversy in the world of,
in the martial arts world.
Yeah, because he just kind of paid his way through. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really research it, but the idea is that he just had so much money and he paid all these really great coaches a bunch of money, and they were like, "Yeah, you're doing great, man." You know, but he's like never competed or anything.
oh jeez.
Could you kick his ass?
Hell yeah, bro.
Absolutely.
It's like, I don't know.
I bet you could.
Maybe.
You're probably getting pretty good at jiu-jitsu nowadays.
He's pretty tough though. He looks pretty tough. He's pretty big looking.
Yeah.
He's kind of bulky.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yeah.
That's right.
There you
That's
go.
right. Take them out at the knees.
But yeah, but I've always wondered that same thing. Like, you know, if you go to a studio in Nashville and say like, I'm willing to pay your rate, like, I mean, I would imagine there's got to be some level of like, can you hang? You know what I mean? Like, can you actually get? Because otherwise, you know, it's like they're putting out a nasty product. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's one thing that I will say with when you're doing your interview process with any company or production company. You know, who have you worked with? Right? I'm sorry, I'm not going to go try to play country music with a rapping producer, you know, or a studio that does rap and alternative rock or whatever. But I will say, like, what turned me on to Ben Reno and Majestic Cape Studios for me was because he's worked with so many different genres of music that he has such a good influence, and that's how you can really tie in some great artistry in there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it worked. But I've had conversations, Zoom calls and stuff with other studios that are like, hey, my rate for one song is $750, and then goes from there. You know, and they do all the mix and hire the studio musicians, or maybe it's the producer that's playing guitar and bass and everything else so they can keep the rates lower, and they hire a drummer to do stuff, or they use MIDI drums or whatever else it might be. You know, there's
is that for a polish, or was that just a number that you pulled out of your head, or is that like a real rate? Like
that is a real rate. Yeah, there's some places that will pay. I've seen some places pay as low as $500 for a song, and others that do it's about $1,500 a song.
Meaning that's what you're paying to go in?
Correct.
That seems cheap.
I mean, pretty decent rate, and that's why I think if you're in Nashville, it's nice because you're right then and there. You can plan a session tomorrow and be like, all right, I can have a song out and have a song every few weeks if I really needed to.
Right.
The reason it's not that cheap, well, I mean, it is kind of cheap, really. Now that I'm thinking about it, because you have to pay each guy. But it's like those guys are so good that it's not like you're spending a ton of time on each song.
Yeah.
It's like
Correct. And so, I mean, you go into the studio, you're playing your song acoustically to a track, singing to it, and then they build off that, right? You give them your inspiration, they build off that.
Right.
I was going to say something now, I can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah.
I do. So off the top of
ahead.
that. So it may be cheap, $500 to $1,500, inexpensive, but that's about what you're doing rate for song. Now you got to think, that plus your membership to your distribution company, whatever that is,
Sure.
plus marketing of the song. You can post it out and nothing will happen with that song. But if you don't do things like Submit Hub or whatever and bid it to curators and email it out to different places or whatever, some kind of marketing or advertising behind it, you know, run promotions off Facebook Meta ads, run promotions on TikTok. That's all money invested. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, that's not the only money you're spending on that song for sure. And I guess, you know, those types of studios are, they've got multiple.
It's a rotating, well-functioned machine, right? Well-tuned, oiled machine kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's still, I would, just hearing that number is like, wow, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you got a good song, like you ought to get it recorded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
But and the level of a good song is only determined by who? Is it myself? Is it everybody else? Right?
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know. I feel like some of my songs are a lot better than others, but other songs have hit a lot better than others. And I'm like, that's interesting. I put the same type of marketing behind each song.
Yeah.
How did this one do a lot better than this song did? You know?
That's something you could drive yourself crazy trying to figure out.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But there's so many ways to get your music heard nowadays with submitting to internet radio stations and different things like that. It's an amazing time to be alive for music, but it's also an amazing time to be alive for music kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I would imagine we're probably getting close to the amount of time, but I would really love to hear some more about like the marketing stuff. Like if you were, you know, what kinds of like marketing things would you have told yourself, you know, several years ago that you didn't know then that you know now?
I would use more time on like less of these like different figures. The biggest thing is using YouTube ads, using Meta ads. I think that gives the best percentage rate. Doing more short form video for each song, and doing it as like a stage. So you have your release, then you have 8 weeks for your next release, which I've done pretty well at it for all the single releases, and it kind of keeps you in the algorithms. And the waterfall effect that I started 4 months ago for the last few releases has helped kind of reach numbers, but putting the right amount of money to the right part of marketing.
Yeah.
Again, short form video, just you singing to your song and posting it together multiple different times in a few different ways. That was really effective on both TikTok and Instagram. Like Facebook, for both my band page and my personal page, pictures work better for different things like that. I get more traction on that than I do videos.
Wild.
YouTube, a short video, like a music video, and putting it on your shorts and or your actual videos part. Really successful. And running a $100 ad, running a $200 ad for the next couple weeks, couple months, whatever it is, and then tailoring it to tier countries. So if you Google or ChatGPT your tier level of countries, there's certain countries that you'll pay a lot less for a conversion per click, like 32 cents per click, versus you put it out somewhere in a third world country where it's like 5 cents per click. So it's going to take all that money for that click, and all of a sudden you have a bunch of fans in this third world country, but it's really, is it them or is it bots or whatever else?
Right.
So being careful of that thing too. But again, advertising through Meta and YouTube, I have found the most success using short form video.
That's interesting, man. I've never even looked into YouTube ads.
And running YouTube ads not through Google. So when you do the Google ads versus YouTube ad, I find it easier and more effective to run the YouTube ads for cost per conversion, follower rate, and view.
And that's something you do right through like the YouTube studio?
Correct.
I'm gonna look into
So
that.
say you guys do this episode, and I'm gonna throw $100 at you guys to advertise it, right?
You are? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because why? It's going to boost. It's going to boost mine. It's going to boost.
Oh,
yours.
you're being serious.
I
was
would
joking.
absolutely promote this.
Yeah, it's you.
But
right?
but that's the point, right? Is not being afraid to take that risk. That's if you can afford it. If your business can afford it. But that all goes into the cost for your song. It's not. It doesn't end at 500. Doesn't end at 1,500. How are you promoting your song to get it to more people? I made a post the other day. I said, as an independent artist, I realized I could release a song a year and a half ago, but it's still new to somebody.
Yeah.
Constantly post your songs. Constantly use your songs.
Yeah, reuse that stuff.
Absolutely.
I came across this artist, and I'm spacing on his name on Instagram. You mentioned like taking like several different, I'm not sure if this is what you meant, but like taking several different kind of sections of a song and doing short form, multiple.
Yeah.
So this dude, you may have came across him. It's a cover of White House Road by Tyler Childers.
Okay.
And it's so, like, his look is kind of what halfway makes it. Dude's wearing like denim overalls, but he's got them cut as shorts, like super short, and he's got like the 80s big glasses on and the acoustic guitar, but he's got a full band behind him, and it's an awesome version of White House Road. Like kick ass, like kind of like an 80s rock version, but still country of White House.
Right.
And I liked it so much that like I went to his page and started looking at his other stuff, which I don't really do a whole lot.
Right.
I had to, it really struck me where I was like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I noticed that he had obviously done a whole video of that whole song, but just like cut it up into different sections, so this 60 seconds might start at the second verse, and then this 60 seconds might start at the second chorus or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all the same performance, but just different sections of the song.
Absolutely.
And I was like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you get different views on all those different videos.
Well, and I will say too, don't try to refrain from posting the same video on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube all on the same day. Teeter it, right? If you have 5 different videos for 5 different platforms, rotate them.
Yeah.
So the one to TikTok is not going to any of the other 4, and then you're putting the one from TikTok onto Instagram maybe a couple days later, the next day later, whatever. But realizing too, like, who cares about going trending? Well, yes, we do, but just post what you've got. Post your performance. Post a little clip. I mean, but also depending on just knowing who's want to watch you, right? Just make sure whatever you post on, is that what, if you were going to hire this artist, is that what you want to represent yourself as?
Yeah.
So whatever it is.
Do you have, like, speaking of that, posting, I've got 5 different videos, I'm going to post this one to Facebook, and then the next day post this one TikTok or however you're doing it. I was going to ask you earlier about like organization and keeping track of all this stuff. Do you have any specific method that you use?
Not at all. I'm just like, what did I post yesterday? Okay, I'm gonna post this one today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post this one today. Post this one today. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
dude.
it's worked over the last couple of years. I think it'll take a little bit differently for next year. And again, like I said, what I just advised to myself as a younger, I'm gonna do the same thing for 2026 and using more this SFV short form video for advertising, for meta ads and stuff like that. And
there's an acronym for it now.
SFV.
I did not
short
even know
form
that.
video. Jesse Cannon, I think his name is, and then Andrew Whitelock on YouTube. They're both guys that do work with independent artists. There's another guy too, but they do a lot of different YouTube videos on how to promote your music, on how to help yourself as an artist, and different tips and tricks kind of a thing.
Right.
They've been doing it for years, and it really has found a lot of success for a lot of people. They're also, you can hire them to do your stuff, but obviously it's going to cost more.
Yeah, right.
But again, it's anybody can do it. It's just finding ways to put more tools into your belt. Mm-hmm. You know?
I manage a couple other social media, Facebook and Instagram accounts for a couple local businesses, not music related, but I use the planner in the Meta Business Suite, to schedule stuff out. And it's just so funny that I'm pretty good about doing that.
Yeah.
And trying not to repeat stuff and make sure that it's a bit of a variety,
right?
But I don't do any of that stuff for my own accounts.
There you go.
Yeah, I really don't, man.
I think if I could do this stuff at work, much less access it at work, I probably would do something like that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things I can't get to, sites I can't get to at work as I can to at home. So using a lot of these business tools, obviously can't even do it at work, shouldn't do it at work. So if I was able to spend more time and be at home, like a remote job or something like that, sure, I probably would do it more that way.
Yeah.
But for now, I haven't, and I don't think I probably will unless I hire some marketing person or whatever to do it, which marketing people are expensive.
Yes, they are.
Publicity managers or whatever are expensive.
Yeah.
Holy crud.
And they're like, my thought, like I've had that thought, about hiring somebody, which is kind of ironic because I'm basically doing it for someone else.
Yeah.
But my next thought is like, I don't know. There's all these, 20-some-year-old kids who like claim to be marketing people, and so, I don't know how they're gonna like. Do you actually know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Do you actually have a strategy, or are you just?
Because then I look at your Instagram and your TikTok numbers, your Facebook numbers. I'm like, but they're under the thousands, like single digits. Like, what do you mean?
There's a dude right here on Kent Island who I met a few years ago, and it was actually before I was like doing video stuff. I was just playing music at Bark Barbecue over there.
Yeah.
Which is an awesome place, by the way.
Well,
we should reach out to them for a sponsor because I will talk about Bark Barbecue all day. But anyway,
we can go over there and do a quick clip as we eat some barbecue. I'll tell you what.
Well, that's what this dude was doing, right? He was there. It was a little thing that they had going on, and he was there walking around with his gimbal, getting shots and looking pretty professional and stuff. So, like, I was curious, and I asked him, like, "Hey, did they hire you? What are you doing with this footage? You know what I mean?" And he was like, "No, I'm just,
freelance.
I'm just kind of like here." Basically, he was trying to promote himself, what I mean, by just being there and doing his thing. And so then I kind of looked into him, and that's what his whole Instagram model was like. We're marketing geniuses, and we will help you grow your business. And he had all these Instagram videos where he's like, what did you do today with your, I don't, a bunch of these terms.
Sounds like
a lot of fluff, dude, and all these terms that like make him sound like he knows what he's doing. But then I'm like, this video has 50 views.
Right.
Like, what? How? It just kind of turned me off to it. But then I've seen a lot of marketing ads that are similar. And I'm just
pay us to put your music on a playlist. Pay us to do this. Your music's not getting heard.
Yeah, and I'm apprehensive about it because I'm like, I don't know if you're really legit or if you're just some bullshitter.
Well, I will tell anybody, any independent artist that's putting out music, be careful of any of those Instagram or Facebook videos that come up, advertisements for like booking agencies or as far as playlist agencies, because a lot of that stuff and Spotify is known for this, is taking off artists without even noticing. because there's bots, right? They're trying to take away from that, which you completely understand why you would.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting paid to play. Each play you get after 30 seconds or whatever else, but at the same time, you don't get notified that you're getting taken off, and all of a sudden all your music, all your streams, all your revenue's gone without a handle. And the thing that sucks with that too is on top of that, someone come over and create a MiGGS song and put it under MiGGS, you know, Spotify without even letting me know. And I'm like, what are you doing? And it could be all over SoundCloud and whatever. I've actually had to notice that that's another thing with MiGGS. And the reason I branded all caps is because I know we have to end soon, sorry.
Oh, it's all
There's
right.
another alternative MiGGS that plays an alternative punk rock band out from 2002 over in California, MiGGS. And they've been playing alternative music forever. There's also a Don MiGGS. So if you Google search me, you have to do like MiGGS country music or MiGGS your country song to find it. I'm still
I
trying to figure out a way
noticed
to
that, yeah.
tailor it. I can't seem to figure out how artists do it to where if you have a first and a last name like, you know, George Strait or even a small artist where it shows up their music, their YouTube and everything else, but I can't do it just for MiGGS. So I've even been thinking about rebranding stuff to be like, all right, MiGGS Rangel, but I'm like, that just doesn't have the same feel, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as Cody Smith or Taylor Johnson, you know, whatever. It kind of.
Well, I mean, I think that MiGGS, you know, it does stand out too,
Right, yeah.
because most of the country artists are, you know, first and last
Right.
name, something, you know, very like, I don't know.
It just works, hooks. Like
Yeah.
Hardy, right? That worked too. And that was another thing. The reason I did just MiGGS, I was like, I kind of did a little with friends and family, like, hey, what do you think about first, last, or this, that? And everything else was like MiGGS. MiGGS works. It's
Yeah.
just MiGGS, you know?
It's unique enough, at least, in my opinion, for at least like local people to like remember
Right,
it.
right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but.
So the Spotify playlist thing, you're submitting to, who are you submitting
There's
to?
there's stuff like
get
Playlist Booker. There's Playlist Match. Different stuff that's been, it's popped up on my Instagrams and Facebook feeds. And what you do is you basically upload your music to this, and you get it playlisted, quote unquote, right? And you know, it can put it in front of different playlisters, which sometimes are the same playlisters or curators, if you will, that are on Submit Hub that you submit your own music to. But other times, those playlists that they submit to are not accurate playlists. They're bot playlists. And like Submit Hub will show you if you're on a playlist and you add this playlist in, it'll tell you if it's legit or not. And that really does help. And that really does help when you're submitting your music. Submit Hub is a great platform for any artist because you upload your music, you submit it based on how much money you have. There's a free one too where I think you get like a few credits, but based on how many credits you have, depends on how expensive or less expensive a certain curator is because of their certain reach. And it all breaks it down from, you know, if they're you know, their turnaround for artists, if they actually submit a lot of artists, what kind of music they want: country, rock, R&B, you know, indie country, hard rock country, country rap, or whatever else it is. But it's just stuff you got to be cognizant about when you're submitting to these things.
So you're guaranteed being put on some playlist. It's just a matter of, or no?
Correct.
Okay.
You are guaranteed. So like Playlist Booker, you might pay playlistbook.com, you might pay like $1,000 to get put on. It's sent out basically like an ad agency to send out to a bunch of different curators, and they'll either accept you or deny you, and you may get put on 36 playlists or you may get put on 512 playlists, but they're the same playlisters that you'd find on Submit Hub that you'd pay maybe $200 on because you did all the work yourself.
Do those curators or playlist people, do they work for Spotify?
Yes, so and they'll tell you on their curated how long they will put your song on there, whether it's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 months, whatever else it is. Also could be they'll write, maybe put it on YouTube as well, or put it on SoundCloud as well, like different things like that. So it will tell you that duration. So you'll notice some numbers of different artists may grow up to, 300,000, all of a sudden drop to 26,000 because, well, they're no longer on that playlist and it dropped out the next week because it's a constantly reoccurring event. So
Interesting.
it's just stuff to be cognizant about.
Yeah.
Things I like to tell other independent artists on how to best promote your stuff. And then looking at college directory, college radio, that's a big thing. Plenty of college radio stations out there that have played my music, which is great. I know a couple other artists that have done the same thing and have had a lot of success. So, and then submitting to like ISA radios, ISSA radio, and a couple different independents as well to be part of these award shows at the end of the day. Hugs Radio is a big thing that I've been a part of. I got nominated for Best Male Artist of 2025. Eddie Johnson actually took home that award, who's actually local in Fallston, be another great guy to have on your podcast. Or sorry, YouTube show, whichever one. Sorry.
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah. Which, by the way, plug this in, guys. Spotify podcast, The Shift with Mike and Joe. YouTube.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Thanks, Migs.
But again, so other places to submit your music to, not just put it out there and hope for the best,
Dude, I'm telling you what, man, it amazes me because like even just listening to you talk about this, it's just like, oh, my brain, it's like so much stuff.
Again, I've been researching this since my first release, trying how to understand my best return on investment.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, time is money. We're all trying to be, well, me at least, I want my music to be heard. I don't want it just to be sitting there. That's my dream, is to have it played on a radio station, have it played on the radio, and I want it to hit somebody. I know it does. I know it has. When people tell me that my song "All Dogs Go to Heaven" meant something to them because they missed their dog, and it just makes me think of them, or "I Miss You, Dad. I lost my dad years ago." That's my biggest song ever. And hearing the constant comments and influence flooding in of like, wow, this really helped me think about my dad. I miss him so much, and me commenting back, that's a huge thing. Hearing songs that families have had the first daddy-daughter dance to "Never Far Away." A song I wrote for my daughter, and they're dancing with their daughters as their first dance, and I'm like, holy crap, that's amazing, So,
dude, it's so cool, man.
Again, I could talk for hours.
You must spend so much time like figuring all this stuff out.
It is a bit, again, where I say the balance. We're talking about family. Last couple of years has been really hard because I really have put a lot of time, and my wife can attest to that. I think now, of the last couple of years, it's not going to slow down in a way where I'm going to stop, but I've been able to understand it better now, where the system is a little bit better tuned. Right, I understand where I need to put my time into this or that or the other.
Yeah.
Right. Having so much content, not having to post every day just to get my numbers up, but posting because that's my billboard. Right. That's my way of advertising or whatever else, where I can point a customer, a client, whatever, to that particular platform and be, here's MiGGS. He's got over such and such thousand numbers versus both local and abroad, and yada yada, and go from there.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, I'm not trying to push, my own music. I'm just trying to play gigs around. But like talking to you about this type of thing, I'm thinking more of like the podcast and,
absolutely
my business. Cause right now, like with the podcast, I'm not just aimlessly posting, but like almost. It's not super strategical. And yeah, the results that we're getting so far is just kind of like, it's a bit of a letdown. And on the other hand, I realize that it takes time to grow things and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm always interested in like, is there a better strategy that is not going to make my brain explode, trying to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And my brain still explodes trying to understand new ways to do things.
I'll bet. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a lot of work, a lot of time, and again, whatever I can do to help raise another ship.
Heck yeah, man. So, where can the person who's watching this podcast now and they're like, they heard your song and they're like, I wanna hear more MiGGS, I want to be a fan. Where can they find you online?
We should have plugged this in at the very beginning of this one. I'm just kidding. MiGGScountrymusic.com. That's MiGGS countrymusic.com. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get your music. You'll find me there at MiGGS.countrymusic, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, everything.
Heck yeah. Well, now they have to watch the whole episode in order to find that information
100%. One Sip Away, my first single 2026, will be out February 13th, 2026. So I'll be sure to pre-save that when that link goes up on all the social medias.
Heck yeah. Well, that'll be well after this episode is posted.
2 months later, right?
Yeah, right around there, right? Yeah. Didn't we decide it's going to be
December 9th or something like that?
10th, I think.
10th, yeah.
Yep. Every other Wednesday is The Shift with Mike and Joe. So MiGGS should go live, I think, December 10th, as long as my math is correct.
I like it.
Sweet.
Thanks for
Awesome.
being here, bro.
Gentlemen, I appreciate you guys. It has been
Heck yeah, man.
an exciting time to work with both of y'all, and I've wanted to do this forever. So the fact that that I got that message 6 weeks ago, like, you want to come? I'm like, yes, let's do this. Let's make it happen.
Heck yeah, dude.
I appreciate it.
Well, like we said, we started this podcast just so we could have you on here. That was the original goal.
I appreciate that. That's exciting. I love it.
All right, man. Well, looking forward to the next time, buddy.
Sounds good.
All right.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Are you gonna do the plug out?
Shit! With Mike and Joe. I still got the Dunkin' Does wrongs.
We do need to practice that for real. Good God.